Oh my gosh, our live tour to the UK, Ireland and Berlin is on sale right now. We are coming over in November 2024 to do many, many shows. Jess, what cities are we hitting up as I pass the list to you?
Well, Dave, we're going to be hitting Berlin, Edinburgh, Belfast, Dublin, Manchester, Leeds, Birmingham, Bristol and London.
My God.
Huge. Big
They've
tour.
done it.
We haven't been for a few years.
That's
and we've
right.
never been to Belfast and we've never been to Berlin.
Yep.
We've heard both of those places are very nice.
That's right. And they love to sell out shows,
Yes,
right,
they
guys?
do. Yes, they do.
We've heard that because I told you both that. They're great. I've had great times in both places.
Yep. Irish bars in both of them.
Do they have Irish bars
Particularly Belfast.
in Belfast?
Yeah, of course.
Interesting. Well, if you want to join us on this cultural extravaganza, you can get tickets right now at dogoonpod.com.
They say opposites attract. That's why the Sleep Number Smart Bed is the best bed for couples. You like a bed that feels firm, but they want soft? Sleep Number does that. You want to sleep cooler while they like to feel warm? Sleep Number does that too. JD Power ranks Sleep Number number 1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now, during Sleep Number's biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number Limited Edition Smart Bed, plus special financing for a limited time. For JD Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. See store for details.
Millions of people have lost weight with personalized plans from Noom. Like Evan, who can't stand salads and still lost 50 pounds.
Salads generally for most people are the easy button, right? For me, that wasn't an option. I never really was a salad guy. That's just not who I am. But Noom worked for me.
Get your personalized plan today at Noom.com. Real Noom user compensated to provide their story. In 4 weeks, the typical Noom user can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Individual results may vary.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky, and as always, I'm here with Matt Stewart.
Hey, Dave. How's it going? Certainly paying attention, not still writing the report.
All right, we'll give you an extra 30 seconds
Thank you
to
so much.
finish whatever you're writing to. Welcome back to the podcast, the fourth, fifth, possibly sixth Beatle himself. It's Nick Mason.
It's great to be back, folks.
Hello.
If you were sensing an incredible masculine energy coming off this episode, it's the boys episode. It's just the boys.
Three boys,
Three big boys.
three big beards.
That's exactly
Three
right.
equally big beards.
That's correct.
It's like evolution of beard. Dave to me to Mesa.
Well, I think we're missing maybe a step 2, 3, 4, possibly 5 between me and you.
Yeah, you're the fish.
Yeah, there's a fish in one frame and the next is like...
I'm pro Magnum Man.
The next person is just like an athlete running. How did it go from fish to athlete?
Your beard is the fish of evolution. Before it got legs.
No legs beard. Anyway, Nick
Nah,
Mason.
it's a fantastic beard.
Thank you so much.
The
Appreciate
listeners
it.
won't know this, but it is getting pretty bushy.
I've been cultivating it.
Yeah. It's got that colour to it. It's got a nice colour to it.
Thank you. I like that you looked for something to compliment. You're like,
You
I'll go for the colour.
You don't see a lot of men with a sort of blonde, blonde beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm doing it. They said it shouldn't be done. I said it could be done. And they said, no, we didn't say couldn't.
Is it
We said
natural?
shouldn't.
I know this is a very personal
Yeah, you
question.
blonding it? Are you peroxiding
Yeah, I'm
your beard?
blonding.
Is that sun in?
Yeah, what I'm doing, I'm blonding my beard but letting my hair go grey. That's what I'm doing.
Hell yeah.
Squeezing lemon juice in and getting out in the sun.
No, this is El Natural. El Natural.
That's beautiful.
Okay.
Mason, we haven't had you on for, a couple of months. We had you at the comedy festival.
That's right.
Great time was had by all. But
What a
have
time.
you been the last few months?
All right.
Anything to report?
Nope.
Fantastic.
See, what you guys don't know is that nothing happens to me in between podcast appearances. I don't do anything. I go into my hermetically sealed hyperbaric chamber.
Yep.
Because I don't want to age in between podcasts,
Yeah, you've looked the
appearances.
same the whole... We've been doing the show for, nearly 9 years with you on nearly from the start.
Yeah.
And you look the same.
I look great. Just
And your secret is permanently living in a hyperbaric chamber.
yes,
That's
exactly.
all it takes.
Living for
to
content.
look quite good.
That's exactly right. Yes, that's right. Yeah. And various oils and salves. And,
Oh, okay, of course.
tinctures,
Serums.
potions.
Oh, okay.
You
Yes.
know, formulas and so forth. Yeah.
Listeners, those in Europe will know we're coming over soon. Those in America will know that we've been trying to come over for a long time. We've been having a few meetings. One of the meetings asked...
Very LA. I've been having a few meetings.
going, please, how do we do it?
What are we doing?
And one of the people was very helpful, suggested we do a big, what do you call it, Dave? You were on that meeting.
Survey.
A big survey.
Big survey.
So we just get everyone to say where they would go see a live show or something. Anyway, I thought, why don't we say it on this episode, which is coming out in a few weeks, and in that time we'll figure out what to put in that survey, and we'll put it out this day as well.
Yeah, right. But basically, you'll be able to head to, I think the best page to go is our Instagram page. Click the link there, and we'll take you through to a little survey. I think we'll get your name, your email, and where in the world you are. And we can collate all that data.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then when we are ready to come to, example, Boston, and you said Boston, we'll email you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't
And
do
we'll-
any tricks.
But we'll-
don't,
and we'll
don't,
also-
don't try and game the system.
Yeah,
Say
sign
we
up.
all want to, you know, some little town in Iowa or whatever.
Yeah, 600 people have told us to go to the middle of Iowa. We'll do it.
We'll do it. Well, that's the other thing. It helps us know where people are. And also follow us on Instagram. Something else that he did. I don't know if you picked up on this, Dave, but it felt like it was like, and is Instagram your biggest following?
Yeah. Yeah.
So apparently it doesn't look good to promoters, our small social media
Yeah,
following.
because a lot more people listen than follow us.
So please follow us.
Please do
Yeah,
that.
stop
Do go on
listening
pod.
and follow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you can only do one, quit listening to the podcast and just sign up to
Honestly,
the social media.
We're
It's better.
saving you a
Yeah.
lot of time.
Yeah, that's
we
right.
might do 4 or 5 photos a week.
Yeah.
That'll take you 4 or 5 seconds to look at. This podcast goes for like 2 hours.
God, who has the time?
Yeah.
It's very confusing system. This whole getting into America, but hey, we're trying.
We're trying.
Absolutely.
So, to reiterate, we'll also put the link in the description of this very episode. How about that? It's very, very easy. You click there, it'll be a couple of things about where you are, and then it helps us tell promoters, yes, we have enough people. Please work with us.
That's right.
That's all it is. Fantastic.
All right, now we should get into this episode because I think it's not. I don't know if it's going to be long. I think it might be longish. I'll put up a vote,
If you want it to be long or longish.
And they said,
and they said both are fine.
Wow.
either or.
I'll put
God,
up a
commit to
vote
something, listeners.
Yeah.
Jeez.
saying Jess is away. Nick Mason's going to be on. Here are 3 big pop culture things.
Oh.
And I said, knowing that Meso is going to be on,
We've got the king of pop culture himself.
which
That's exactly
one
right.
do you want to hear? And I'll
Have
put
you
up
written
that
all
vote.
3 reports and Meso gets to choose?
Honestly,
exciting.
the 2 were vying it out for top spot, and I started researching one
Oh, no.
for quite a few hours, and then the other one came over the top, and I had to switch last.
Got to chuck all that old stuff in the bin. That old research.
But I thought maybe you can come back one day and I'll do that other one.
Okay,
And-
but if you could chuck it all in the bin and start from
Yeah,
scratch
yeah.
for the next
I
thing.
will
don't
do
wanna-
that.
He'll
Ugh.
know. He'll
Yeah, I'll
know.
know. Yeah.
That's stale.
Yeah.
That's stale info.
That's right.
All right, Dave, do we need to explain how the show works?
Yeah, we haven't done that yet. Do you want me to do that? Because you'll do the report.
Okay,
Save that beautiful voice. I'll step in and say, what we do here, Meso, if you don't remember, is we take it in turns to report on a topic. It's often suggested to us by one of the listeners or many of the listeners. We go away, do a bit of research, bring it back to the group in the form of a report. Matt, he's written the report. Sounds like he's written 1.5 reports.
Yeah.
But he's going to pick one of those topics, and we always start with a question to get us on the topic, because Meso and I don't know what won that vote.
That's right.
Then we're going to do funny little jokes and
Exactly.
riffs.
No, just get it right.
But no
mate.
dog shit riffs. No dog shit riffs.
Don't make a fool of yourself today.
Oh, but that's what I love to do.
The question is, according to Title Max, what is the highest grossing media franchise of all time?
Oh, Title Max. Is
Yeah.
it Title Max? Is this a promotion for Title
That's a
Max?
Title Max promotion.
Okay, great. All right. You ever done a sponsored topic?
For Title Max?
Yeah, for anyone, really.
No, I think Acast has talked to us about some,
Yeah,
but
every
they've
now and
never...
then we get approached with, would you like to do this? We're like, yeah, that sounds cool. And it hasn't quite worked out yet.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
But a
they've
Title
all been
Max,
pretty
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
sounding.
we're open.
That's right.
Mm.
That's right. Pepsi Cola. It's great and it's great for you. Here's the history of it. It was made with a little bit of magic.
I'm thinking big franchises. A lot of them we've already covered. James
Yeah,
Bond,
Star Wars.
Star Wars. Been going
Star
forever.
Wars is number 5 on the list.
5.
Really? Gosh.
I
Media
don't think
fran-
it'll be the Marvel Cinematic Universe, although that's pulled in some big numbers.
Oh, yeah. Is that big up there, Matt? Does that count as one?
Marvel is... 11.
11.
Really?
Whoa. So this is
Okay.
big. This is big,
What's
big, big.
bigger than
What's bigger than
all these things?
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Marvel Cinematic. That's MCU.
The Bible? Is it
Oh,
Bible
yeah.
sales?
It's not Bible sales.
Interesting. Are we close
Okay.
though?
No.
What
Not
about
at all.
like
okay. Satanic Bible sales.
Ooh,
yeah,
get closer.
that really kicked off for a while there.
It did, didn't it? Lord of the Rings? He would have done Lord of the
yeah.
Rings.
Done Lord of the Rings, and I don't think that's even on this list of the top 25.
Did you say multimedia franchise?
I said
Oh, Super Mario?
media
Nintendo?
franchise.
Oh,
Nintendo, Super Mario?
Super Mario Nintendo.
Mario is on the list.
Oh.
It feels good. It
It's
feels
number
good to get
8
one on the list.
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
You're playing Family Feud now.
WWE.
Oh.
WWE doesn't
The
seem
World
to be on the list.
Wildlife Experience.
I should say Lord of the Rings is on the list, sorry,
Nice.
at 21.
Wow,
I
this
bet
is
it's really obvious
Bonds
too.
at 22.
it's an extensive list.
Bonds at
Yu-Gi-Oh!
22.
at 23. Peanuts at 24.
Pokemon?
Yes, it's Pokemon!
Oh!
It's Pokemon. Got to catch them all.
Number 1 in the world.
Yes.
Can we maybe get the top 10 in order? I'd love to hear that.
Or out
as a
of order.
countdown?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe, 10 to 1. And we know where we're going, though.
Maybe alternate evens and odds.
I'm going to go
Well, that is 10 to 1. So it's
10 to
fine.
1. Harry Potter, it's 10.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Shonen Jump / Jump Comics, number 9.
All right.
Mate, so can we just pause there and you tell me what the hell that is?
Oh, that's like manga. That's like a weekly
Oh,
manga.
okay,
and
great.
it's
That makes sense.
All
Yep,
the,
yep.
the Dragon Balls and all sorts and stuff
That
that,
would
all sort
count
of
that,
sprung
yep.
out of it. Yeah.
Mario is number 8.
Mario?
Mario.
Question mark? That's a different franchise.
Disney
It's a series of games about a guy. Maybe it's Mario?
Disney Princesses.
I don't think that counts
Somehow
as
they've
one thing.
counted that.
I
Is there also
guess.
Disney Lions?
Anpan Man, another manga or
Oh,
manga.
I'm not familiar with Pan Man, but
Ant-Pan
I'll
Man.
look him up real quick.
Star Wars at
Thank you, man.
5.
Yep.
Mickey Mouse at number 4.
Okay.
Winnie the Pooh
Okay.
at number 3. Hello Kitty at number 2. And at number 1, Pokemon.
Pan Man
catch
is also
him.
a song
Oh.
by the pop band of BTS.
Oh, right.
There you
Okay.
go. Yeah, there's a bunch of others in there. Transformers. So the 3 that I put up for the vote, Meso.
Oh, you would recognize Pan Man, I think. You seen that guy?
I've seen this little
He's
guy.
familiar.
Oh, yeah, he does look familiar.
Wow, he's one of the top multimedia franchises of all time.
Wow, that little 2D
Good for
guy's
him.
killed it.
He's got a friend who's a toast. His mate's a toast.
Is that the one there's an egg in it?
Yeah,
No.
he could be an egg.
Oh, guys, we're going to save this for the Ant-Pan Man special because I assume that was one of the 3.
Yeah, this is the Ant-Pan Man episode's going to do
Is
big
Ant-Pan
numbers.
Man,
so-
is that what came second in the vote?
No, so Transformers came 3rd by some distance.
Okay, that's
it
not
had about 1/5 of the vote, and then nearly exactly 2/5 of the vote each, 40% of the vote each, were the winner, of course, Pokemon and the X-Men.
Oh, sure.
So I got quite deep into the X-Men, and it was confusing me.
That is a labyrinth.
Yeah.
Because it's the X-Men is the closest you can get in comic books to like a soap opera that's
Right.
been going for 50 years.
And it basically was put on ice,
Yeah.
and it came back. Like I got pretty deep into it. I found that out. There was the guy who came up with it, and then there's 3 really important guys. Maybe the first guy, then another guy, and then that guy handed over to another guy.
I reckon we just chop this out and that can be the X-Men
Well, that's
episode.
the X-Men
That's
episode.
it, basically. There were 3 guys.
So are these 3 guys all X-Men?
No, they were
Yes.
regular men.
Oh no, yes, they were. I think they're all dead now. Is that what you mean?
Oh, I was wondering if it was
X-Men
autobiographical,
current
but okay,
corpses,
yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So Pokemon, that's really exciting. I loved Pokemon growing up.
See, I think I was too old for Pokemon.
Yes.
It would have been Pokemon would have just come out when I was that age where I'm like, this seems stupid. This is all stupid. I don't even care about it.
I'm
I'm
as
sure
old
I
as the
would
wind,
enjoy it.
and I was the same.
Yeah.
I mean, everything seems stupid to me.
Yeah.
Everything from pop culture.
That's right.
I
when you
remember
were
when
at the
phone
Mozart
records.
came out. I went fad.
When the Bible came out, you're like, this will blow over.
This will blow over. Next.
Another fad.
But you, Dave, you were all in.
Yeah, for about 3 or 4 years there, I was the right target demographic. And I know it's the number 1 most successful franchise ever, but it's still
Obviously.
it's crazy that every generation that comes along seems to embrace and love Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, would have been 20 plus years since I've been really into it.
Could you off the top of your head name all 150 original Pokemon?
I reckon I could.
Here we go.
Okay. I couldn't do it in order.
No. Okay.
Okay. I feel like this should be a Patreon bonus episode because it would be quite frustrating because I reckon I'd name about the first 90
Yeah.
quite quickly and then we'd be there for about 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like,
I have-
have
All right.
I said Magikarp?
Not to put you on the spot, but name one Pokemon.
Jinx.
Nice, he's done it. As far as I
that
can know,
comes
he's
up as controversy later because it was seen. Is that the racist one or one of the racist
Oh
ones?
my God.
There's
I can see, now, I've never thought about that, but now I think about it, I can see that.
Okay.
Now that's all we can think about.
Oh, let me name another one then. My Electabuzz. Anything wrong with Electabuzz?
Not that I came across.
It's racist towards electricians. So,
Yeah. Just
Oh,
look,
be-
all electricians are like, buzz, buzz. Ugh.
It's funny as you're saying buzz buzz, you touching that cable is making a buzzing sound.
I know, I'm a professional.
That's the Electabuzz.
That's the
Like a
Electabuzz.
buzz.
Which of
Like a
course you
buzz.
don't know because you refuse to wear headphones.
That's correct.
You can't. You're like my ears can't be coddled.
Yeah.
Yeah, try and trap my ears. You can't.
Plus, I don't want to hear my own voice.
Yeah,
Yuck,
okay,
Quite
yeah.
frankly.
I
Yuck.
fully, yeah.
Sorry, everyone.
So this has been suggested by a few of our great listeners. If you want to suggest topics, anyone can do it into the hat. There's a link in the show notes. People who suggested include Sam Wall from England, Eric Mitchell from Spokane, Washington, Rachel Johnson from Melbourne, who suggested it twice as Pokemon and Pokemon Go, Braden from Brisbane, Jack Quinn from Kilkenny Island, Stephen Carter from Calaroy in Sydney near Manly, Sam Markland from Melbourne, Brandon Castaneda from Roy, Utah. I imagine being from a place called Roy.
I like it.
I like it too. It's
Guys,
a yes for me.
Let's get a gig at Roy, Utah.
Let's go to
Do
Roy.
Go On can go to Roy, Utah.
That's right. Well, fill out that form. If you're from Roy, if we get
right.
enough Roy's on board.
That's right. Do Go On Mormon edition.
I'd also love to visit this next place because it was suggested by Malin Corlin from Nuuk in Greenland.
Oh, awesome.
Douglas Johnson from the Wirral in the UK. Stephen Coventry from Greenock, Brantley Wheeler from Centerton, Michael DeRizzi from Wichita in Kansas, Chrysostomos Mutafis from Melbourne, Victoria. Put in brackets Chris. I could have gone with that, but why would you shorten it when your name is
That's majestic.
Chrysostomos?
Yeah,
That is so good. Holy shit.
That's like the evolution of Chris.
Yes. That's the ultimate
Yeah, that's right.
stage.
Yeah.
And finally, Grant Dickey from Aberdeen in Scotland.
Well, there's almost as many people suggest as that as there is the 150 original Pokemon. That's the only fact I know about Pokemon. There's 150 original.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it briefly, but 151st one as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hawaii.
that's right. Brandon from Roy in Utah said this, and I don't know what it means, Dave. Maybe you can make sense of it. Mr. Mime is Ash's dad or something like that.
Okay, so Mr. Mime is a Pokemon who is like a little bit annoying in the TV show because it looks like a clown and it mimes all the time. Right. It's a psychic Pokemon with psychic abilities, but it also goes, ooh, ooh, ooh,
Oh,
ooh,
yeah,
like sort of
sounds like
untrapped
a
in a box
nightmare.
all the time.
Yeah.
And Ash is the main character on the original Pokemon TV show, and I'm not sure.
Well, I'll talk about that. Not the original.
Well,
That's
the one that Cheese TV played, which in my heart will always be the original. And I'm not
Just
sure.
saying, I've got to let the listeners know, any electrical sound you hear, it's because Meso's
Oh,
playing
sorry.
with the cable.
Sorry
and he
for being-
refuses to wear headphones.
Sorry for being too professional, guys.
I tell you what, I'm really feeling for Mr. Sunday Movies right now.
Tell you what.
This is what James has to deal with on a weekly basis.
I'm going to instead focus on fidgeting on this giant crystal skull tumbler you've presented with
Yeah.
me.
Mate, so I was drinking water from a skull-shaped glass.
Do we have any? Oh, there's a good fidget spinner over there. A fidget thing that I like using that one.
This one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, time to not focus on the podcast. Here we go, folks.
Anyway, in summary, I don't know how his dad is Mr. Mime, but Roy, I'm with you.
That's the whole city of Roy.
The whole city of Roy, I'm with you. I'd like to run for mayor.
Dave, before
Mayor.
I get stuck into it, I think I'll talk about it in bits and pieces. But before we get into it, can you give the people a bit of a quick rundown?
Of what Pokemon is.
What it is, yeah.
Oh my gosh, well, I feel like you'd be better place to say this, but I think it stands for Pocket Monsters, possibly.
Yeah.
So they're these, I mean, who doesn't know what Pokemon are? These little creatures, it's like a world where there's creatures that are like animals.
You know who doesn't know what they are? people who weren't born 3 years either side of you.
But you know the idea of it. There's these little creatures that people capture, enslave, and then force to battle other Pokemon. But then they also just live in the wild and have a good time. And there's different elements represent different types of Pokemon. They're categorized for there's water, there's fire, there's psychic, there's grass, there's bug.
Yes.
There's poison.
Bug's big.
There's dragon. There's flying type, and then there's dark Pokemon, and they add every couple of years. There's a new generation of Pokemon. Okay. It's like, oh my god, we've just discovered in this world there's another 100 out there, and then they also
get them to dogfights.
Discover new types. Yeah. But they battle, and you capture.
We can't
them.
let these live in the wild.
Yeah, you capture them in these little Pokeballs, and then you become their master, and they battle, but they don't kill each other. They battle until they just faint and pass out.
What do you think it's like inside those balls, the Pokeballs?
Do you reckon it's like the Doctor Who TARDIS that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago?
Oh, they're bigger on the inside.
I hope
What do you
so.
think the Pokemon are squished down? Like maybe they're very...
It's even smaller on the inside.
Yeah, that's right. The walls are very thick
Oh
on
my
those
God.
Pokeballs, yeah.
Because it's wild that like a tiny Pokemon, like a Kakuna, is in the same size Pokeball as a Charizard, which is a big one.
That's got to be a Doctor Who style.
It's got to.
What did you call it? TARDIS.
The TARDIS.
It's got to be a TARDIS type thing.
And also there's these things called gyms where you battle against gym leaders, and if you can beat them, you get given a badge. And depending on what league, there's different leagues, but to become a Pokemon Master, I believe you have to get all the badges and then also collect all the Pokemon. Which becomes harder and harder as now there's 58,000 Pokemon.
Not quite, but there are a lot.
That's kind of a rundown of what I remember. And then, it's had cards and video games.
Who's your favourite?
TV shows. My favourite Pokemon? Gosh, that's really hard to say.
Your favourite human in the Pokemon universe?
Probably Brock. Definitely Team Brock. You guys know Brock. In the game, which I loved playing the Pokemon Blue, the first game, I always loved getting a Gyarados, which is a big dragon-type water Pokemon, which evolves from a Magikarp, which is a piece of shit fish that can't do anything except splash. But if you stick it out, it becomes a Gyarados, which is like a powerful dragon.
You just have to enslave an awful fish that doesn't want to be there and make it fight as often as possible.
Yeah, let it flail around until one day it gets so angry it becomes a dragon.
Okay, and you never fear that's going to turn on you?
But they must respect you because you've got these little badges.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And the more badges you have, the more powerful Pokemon will respect you.
Do they ever address in the Pokemon universe like the technology that allows a Pokeball to be bigger on the inside than the outside to address the housing crisis
Absolutely
or anything
not.
like that? Okay.
It's just about enslaving these creatures.
Okay, good. Great.
All right, should we get stuck into the story? I'm just remembering that I have not done any checks on name pronunciations. But
for the first 150, I can help you out. After that, it does become a bit of a free-for-all.
I was thinking more of I don't talk about too many of the monsters. I'm talking more about the creators.
For the first 150 creators, I can absolutely...
How's your Japanese?
Perfect.
All right, so the main man, the guy whose brainchild it was a guy called Satoshi Tajiri, who was born on the 28th of August, 1965.
That is my birth date, and that's why I feel an affinity with Pokemon.
That's so good. For Time magazine, Courtney Mifsud Integrelia writes, Tajiri was raised by his parents, a Nissan salesman and a housewife in the Tokyo suburb of Machida in the late 1960s. According to James Gates, writing for Culture Trip, at the time Machida was still a comparatively rural chunk of the city. It was a perfect spot for him to indulge in his love of catching and collecting insects, a hobby he became so synonymous with that his childhood friends would give him the nickname Dr. Bug. A great nickname.
Yeah.
Went through a few drafts and they went, no, this is perfect. Dr. Bug.
I love it. Dr. Bug. It's like a little kid as well.
Mr. Pockets full of worms.
Oh, he became a surgeon. Surgeon Bug. Of his love of bugs in these childhood years, he told Time magazine in 1999, they fascinated me. For one thing, they kind of moved funny. They were odd. Every time I found a new insect, it was a mystery to me. And the more I searched for insects, the more I found. If I put my hand in the river, I would get a crayfish. That's this magical river.
Yeah.
If there was a stick over a hole, I would create an air bubble and I'd find insects there. I like coming up with new ideas, like how to catch beetles. In Japan, a lot of kids like to go out and catch beetles by putting honey on a piece of tree bark. My idea was to put a stone under a tree because they slept during the day and they like sleeping under stones. So in the morning, I'd go pick up the stone and find them. Tiny discoveries like that made me excited.
And I got to keep the honey for myself.
That's right. I got my own honey stick on a piece of tree bark. Yum, 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 yum.
You could catch more flies with the stone than with honey.
Yeah. So he loved, that excited him. Putting down a rock and
Coming
then picking
back.
up that rock the next day and there being a bug. And that got him excited.
It was the TikTok of its time, you know? You couldn't go to the movies without people just looking under their rocks in the cinema. You're like, could you please not look under a rock?
Please, come on.
We're trying to watch this movie.
Stop clinking and clanking those rocks. We're trying to concentrate.
This is a sacred space.
That's right.
2 hours without your rocks. That's all we ask for.
Please turn off your rocks. When he became a teenager, he started to really get into arcade games, particularly Space Invaders. According to Courtney Mifsud Integralia, I'll say their name different every time, Tajiri skipped going to college and instead studied electronics at a 2-year technical school. It was sinful as shoplifting, he said, of skipping college, Tajiri. My parents cried that I had become a delinquent because he
went to technical school.
He went to,
Do you think they would have
Like a-
preferred if he was a shoplifter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, at least you're going to get something out
Have
of this.
some honour.
God, you're a common criminal with your soldering and your capacitors and so forth. God, why don't you just join the Yakuza?
So his dad worked for Nissan.
Yeah.
He's a salesman.
Electronics in Japan? That will never work.
That'll never take off. Apparently, according to Time, Tajiri was such a fan and he spent so much money in an arcade that one of them gave him a Space Invaders machine to take home.
Wow.
How many?
I don't know how many coins you have
you
to...
punch the card 10 times.
Yeah.
You play 10 games and then they give you the machine.
I'm just,
Hey, that must mean he was annoying, right? Because, like, you can
Yeah.
play it at home.
Please
Just
don't
stop
come
coming
in.
in here.
That's right,
'Cause
yeah.
that's, like, that stops him coming in. That's the reason he's coming in and spending money in your shop.
In a way, this is the most popular game, at the time ever, but we will let you have it.
Yeah.
We will remove a major source of their income if you never come back.
If you, Dr. Bug,
That's right.
piss off. He found that there weren't many good outlets to get information about games, and that is when he decided to create and self-publish the magazine Game Freak.
oh, that's interesting.
That's a name I recognise, but maybe it's not the Game Freak I'm thinking.
Oh, no, I
of.
think it would be because when you turn on the Pokemon game on the Game Boy, one of the production companies is Game Freak.
Oh, no relation. Funny
chances.
coincidence.
It is a funny coincidence.
So this magazine he was putting out was handwritten, hand-stapled, and it included tips about how to succeed in games like Donkey Kong. He sold it for 300 yen per copy, but it got a bit of a market. The biggest issue he sold was about a game called Zabius. Does that ring any bells?
Zabius. I know
I don't know.
Xevious.
Well, maybe
You
that's
think
what it
it's-
is.
Okay, right, maybe.
And apparently that copy sold 10,000 copies.
Wow.
It's a lot of staples.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking that too, if you've got 2 in each.
So I think when
Oh
it,
my gosh.
Minimum, too, yeah.
as it started to grow, he started getting a printer involved. So
Okay,
probably
right.
by that stage
Right,
he
'cause
might
he's
have been.
probably getting like RSI in his hand from
Yeah.
stapling.
There'd be no time to write the articles.
Yeah.
But he was putting it out from 1981 to 1986. So, yeah.
Oh, he had a whole other life before Pokemon.
Yeah,
This
and
guy.
1981, so he started when he's a teenager then.
Yeah, that's
16.
right.
That's pretty cool. He's a businessman.
It's a businessman.
He's just a businessman.
According to...
And a bug man.
A
Bugs
doctor.
in business. That's what his business card said. What do you need me to handle, bugs or business? I can do both.
I'm all out of business.
That's right.
But, yeah, I'd love some bugs if you got
Yeah,
any.
I'm here to chew bugs and do business, and I'm all out of business.
According to Courtney Mifsud Integralia, I'm just going to start calling them Courtney.
CMA.
CMI.
Yeah, CMI.
Yeah, CMI.
Yeah.
Okay. According to CMI, one of the Game Freak collaborators was Tajiri's friend Ken Sugimori, who would eventually design all the Pokemon and oversee art direction for the movies and merchandising. Like Tajiri, Sugimori had a love of video games along with a childhood fascination with cartoons and animation. During Game Freak's publishing days, Tajiri also met Junichi Masuda, a programmer and composer. And those three sort of, I think, became kind of the core of Game Freak. So when probably not going to be that great at mentioning all their names all the time, but when I say Game Freak, I'm talking about them.
Yeah, those three freaks.
When I say
They're the Game Freaks.
Yeah, they're the freaks.
And when you say CMI, you're talking about Courtney.
I'm talking about Courtney Mifsud Intreglia.
Great.
Yeah.
Damn.
Now we know who you're talking about.
Great. Ken Sugimori, the guy who designed all the monsters, he was a reader at first and then got in touch and then they started collaborating that way, which is kind of fun.
Oh. That's like, I don't know, that's these days people would like, meet on Twitter or whatever. And that's okay. That back in the day, you'd have to write a letter. My goodness.
Oh, my God.
Right? Pen pals. Ugh.
Other readers became contributors as well. And they kind of all formed into a bit of a collective. And they started even tinkering with code and the mechanics of the consoles as well. Tajiri had that electronic... I know, this is disgusting. Mo says putting his nose up at it. But he did do 2 years studying electronics.
Criminal. Jail. She should be in jail.
According to Gates, Tajiri became preoccupied with Nintendo's Famicom home console, which is known here as the Nintendo Entertainment System, taking the device apart to better understand how it worked. So he kind of taught himself how to build games.
Was he able to put it back together?
No, it looked nothing like it, unfortunately.
It's a lamp now.
A very expensive lamp.
They also spent time chatting about what they liked and disliked about various games. But soon they became a little disenfranchised with the whole industry. As Tajiri told Time in 1999, the more I learned about games, the more frustrated I became because the games weren't very good. I could tell a good game from a bad game. My conclusion was, let's make our own games.
And let's make them good.
Yeah.
That's the twist.
Yeah.
So a lot of companies, they make them bad.
Yeah, because they don't have someone on their team that knows the difference between a good and a bad game.
Yeah, you need some freaks in there. You need some game testers who are real freaks.
Because everyone out there is like, I guess they're all good. They're all games, so they're probably all good games.
Yeah.
Why would they make a bad game?
Yeah.
But you'd be wrong.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah.
Until reading that, I thought, well, if you make a game, it's a good game.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Well,
Like, isn't there a big Australian gaming thing called Good Game? Or not?
Well, we just call it game.
Yeah, we just
We
call it game.
understand that they're all good games.
But anyway, that's exactly what they did. Make games. Good games. As Gates writes, he and Sugimori, along with the friends they'd picked up along the way, thanks to Game Freak, decided to turn their hobby into a profession and established a company named after Tajiri's magazine, Game Freak. The mission was to make video games that would capture people's imaginations by being good.
Nice.
wow.
Nice.
Before Pokemon, his first game was called Quinty. According to Tajiri...
Bad start. Off to a bad start.
What are you imagining? I'm imagining like a little stick figure going, I'm Quinty.
Oh.
And just sort of wandering around doing nothing. That's what I'm
Okay.
I'm Quinty.
I'm just imagining like a brand of tissues. And you just on the screen, you just look at it.
And this is the cover for it, which is kind of fun. But
Oh, okay. It's a little bit...
Okay.
Okay, a lot of colourful characters.
It's more colourful than I was imagining, like a literal
okay.
black and white.
yeah, I think it was some sort of a puzzle game.
Oh, okay, yeah, but there's little characters. It looks like a chess set, and then there's little characters, and they've got bubbles and
And does
stuff.
anyone
Okay.
say, I'm Quinty?
Yeah, I mean, that's the essential part.
I think, most of the game is you go around saying, I'm Quinty, and then the computer-controlled characters say, go away.
And then a thing comes up saying, would you like to say I'm Quinty again? And you say yes or no. And that's it.
And the game over state is your cat Quinty goes and he goes to technical school. And that's when you know you've really failed.
And like to me, that sounds like a bad game, but because they made it, I know that's not possible.
a
They
good
only
game.
make good games.
That's right.
So that's why I think Quinty must be a great game.
Tajiri later said that he did it all by himself. I think he means that I did it all by myself with the others, but maybe not.
His definition of by myself is pretty wild.
I didn't rely on other companies or programmers. Or maybe he did do it by himself. I just started by taking apart the Nintendo system to see how it worked. When I was 16, I won a contest that Sega was putting on. It took me 2 years to learn the programming and a year to make my first game. Quinty. I'm Quinty.
I'm Quinty. Oh, I'm lost. Will you help me? I'm Quinty.
Quinty.
Yeah, get out of here, Quinty.
Sorry, hi. Sorry, excuse me. I'm Quinty. Could you give me directions to the nearest town? I'm
Get
Quinty.
in the bin, Quinty. God.
No.
Yeah, the baddies are always trying to put Quinty in the bin.
Yeah.
And you go back to the start.
You wake up in the rubbish dump again.
I think it's high time for a reboot of Quinty.
Yeah.
I mean, if Pokemon's, they've got the juice now, they could just bring
For
back
sure.
Quinty.
Quinty 3D.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you reckon we
Quinty
that far advanced
64.
now?
Yeah.
According to Gates, Game Freak's earliest creations, which appeared on the
Quinty
Famicom.
go in the bin. Go to in the bin.
That would be so good. Everyone can go out with augmented technology or
And
whatever.
Quinty's there and you can punt him into the bin.
You put them into real bins.
Yes.
Kick it into a bin. And it also teaches you to recycle.
That's true.
And,
I'll be turned into a cup.
It would separate rubbish from recyclables. Quinty goes in the bin. Landfill. No, I think that's fun. We recycle Quinty. See what he comes out as.
Hopefully something useful next time.
I'm toilet paper.
Shut up, Quinty.
But all these games were colourful, enjoyable titles, but didn't really reinvent the wheel, according to Gates. Nevertheless, the company was building momentum, and Tajiri got a flash of inspiration when he saw Nintendo's latest creation, which was revolutionary at the time, a short black cable that connected two Game Boys.
I thought you were going to say Mario Brothers, but all right, a cable.
A cable. This cable is awesome.
It's like you picture that it's the biopic.
Yeah.
He sees it and it glows.
It glows,
like it's all,
yeah, that's
whoa.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His calculations, numbers start flashing up in his
Yeah.
mind.
So that was the thing. He was like, wow, how about this? It's a cable. It allows two players to compete against each other. And he saw its potential perhaps more than anyone else. Later saying of the Game Boy and its cable, it was a profound image to me. That cable really got me interested. I thought of actual living organisms moving back and forth across the cable.
Quinty, for example. He could be back and forth.
I don't want Quinty. I'll trade him to you. No, I don't want him either.
It's called I don't want Quinty.
Yeah, no one wants Quinty. Can't we just get him stuck in the lead and then we'll throw the lead away?
Did you have the cable?
Yes, the
Yeah, it
cable
did come with a cable, yeah.
is awesome for the game that's going to make Pokemon because it means you can trade and battle with a friend.
Yes.
And I did that with my cousin Jackson and it was awesome.
That's so good.
So if you could skip to the part where everything's awesome.
Yeah, get to
Matt,
the bit.
okay,
Hey, we're getting close.
All right, good.
He's just seen a cable.
Oh,
okay?
yeah, sorry, yeah, okay.
Slow
I'm
down.
setting the
Yeah.
table before we eat. Which is what I think about as the back half of an episode.
And I'm hungry.
While existing games use the cable as a way for kids to compete against each other, Tajiri saw it as a way of sharing information, and this helped spark the idea for Pokemon. But what was this idea?
It's wild that it starts with the cable. That does blow my mind.
I think. Well, as you'll see, he goes back for inspiration a long way back.
Mostly bugs, I think.
Yes, of course, the bugs. The bug catching was a big one. As he later said, places to catch insects are rare because of urbanization. Kids play inside their homes now. And a lot had forgotten about catching insects. And so had I. When I was making games, something clicked. And I decided to make a game with that concept. Isn't it so sad that Dr. Bug lost his way? He couldn't even really remember how to do it.
Lost his passion for bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
right.
heartbreaking.
That is, yeah, that's right. But then he was like, what if your Game Boy was full of bugs? What if you open the battery compartment, there's a bunch of bugs in there?
They crawl out everywhere. Every nook and
Oh
cranny.
no, I got bugs on my hands. Oh no.
Hey, he was scratching his skin a lot. There's bugs. I can't get them. He goes on to say, everything I did as a kid is kind of rolled into one. That's what Pokemon is. Playing video games, watching TV, Ultraman with his capsule monsters, they all became ingredients for the game.
Disappointing your parents.
Ultraman, if you don't know, is a series centered on a race of aliens nicknamed the Ultras. Do you know anything about these ones?
They're big silver guys.
Okay.
They'll fight a big Godzilla-style monster. They'll do a karate on them.
Okay, and they had some sort of capsule monsters?
I guess they did. Oh, it was probably because you watch the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yes.
And the villain was always like throwing a monster into the real world, and then they had to fight the monster kind of thing. I think it's probably that kind of vibe. You know what I
Gotcha.
mean? Yeah.
Oh, I had an Ultraman toy growing up, and I didn't even realize what that was.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like a
You were so
You were so close to
pampered.
becoming
No,
the
I
creator of Pokemon. Because you've got a lot going on. You had all the pieces, clearly. Like you knew about Ultraman, you loved playing Game Boy, you played Pokemon. You could have invented Pokemon,
You
but you
just had to
didn't.
put the threads
God.
together,
Didn't put it
Dave.
together.
God.
I think a relative might have brought it back from overseas, the Ultraman. Yeah.
Dave, you put 1 and 1 together and got 0.
Yeah, that's really disappointing, actually.
Yeah, 1 minus 1. Fault me there.
So he has this idea kind of around 89, 90. The Game Boy comes out in 89. He sees this cable. He's putting it all together. And he pitches it to Nintendo. He starts working with it like... It's one of those stories like nearly every story I ever tell. There's slightly different versions about the chronology.
Yes.
And yeah, anyway, so he pitches it to Nintendo. According to Gates, Pocket Monsters was unlike anything seen at the time. As he envisaged it, players would wander a vast landscape collecting small creatures which they could train and send into battle against competitors, battling either the computer or another person via the Game Boy's link cable.
Oh my God, that cable. Every time I hear about it, I think, my God.
You get excited.
That's a hot cable.
Each creature would have its own unique design and set of attributes. Trained correctly, they could evolve into more powerful versions of themselves. It was his hope that the joy and enthusiasm he experienced as a youngster collecting bugs could be communicated via gameplay. And Nintendo, well, they didn't really get it, apparently.
They weren't bug boys.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it's interesting. But they liked him and his work, so they kind of brought him under their corporate wing, so to speak, with the thought to further develop the idea. And it was also shown to a man named Shigeru Miyamoto.
That's Mr. Nintendo. That's the guy who created Mario.
That's right. I said a man. He's not a man. He's a bloody god.
He's a bloody legend of the
He's a
form.
legend of
That's
the
right,
form.
Exactly. He's a myth.
Created Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong. He's like the king.
Yeah. Also,
And
it's nice of them to be like, we'll employ you and take you under our wing, and not just we'll steal your idea.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work. Now leave.
Yeah, that's
Guys,
right.
I've got a great idea.
He's living the Quinty lifestyle.
That's exactly right.
Kicked from bin to bin.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm Quinty. I've got an idea for a game. We'll take the idea.
We'll
but
write the
piss
idea
off,
down,
Quinty.
pass it across the table, and then fuck off forever.
So yeah, he starts getting mentored by Miyamoto, and Miyamoto is also in his corner with this game. He's basically going to Nintendo. Now this is good. This
a
is
great
worth
idea.
pursuing.
That's awesome.
So yeah, really lucky to have him in their corner.
This guy better not make a more successful franchise than I do, Shigeru Miyamoto. If one day it ends up on top 10 list, it better not be number 1.
Yeah.
So I will flip my lid.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if I'm number 8, I'll be furious.
But yeah, so Nintendo kind of goes, if you've got the money to make it, you should make it. And then
Sure,
maybe
okay.
we'll put it out or whatever.
Okay, great.
But you can do some work with us in the meantime. So initially he's like, Pokemon, it'll take us about 6 months to make. And this is starting in 1990. I don't know if you remember when it came out, but it was a little while later than 6 months. It was 6 years. It dragged on, and it caused great strain on the budding company, got nearly bankrupted. Their employees often went unpaid, which led to 5 of them. I think the team was about 10, and it shrunk down to basically just those 3 guys I talked about before,
Those
Tajiri,
freaks.
Sugimori, and Masuda.
There's only the real freaks would stick around for no money. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
For the love of the game, bugs.
That's right. Tajiri didn't draw a wage during that time, but he was luckily able to live off his parents. So this story, Dave, you and Tajiri, I know you still live off your parents?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Been living there for a long time. That's not true.
You've worked like 3 jobs for ages. But yeah, most of the others either quit or were fired just because like we can't pay you anymore, depending on who you read. And the 3 who remained, the 3 final developers who stayed, worked brutal hours. Apparently, Tajiri favoured a system where he'd sleep for 12 hours and then work for 24 hours straight and repeat.
Okay. I would have just done the normal way. Yeah. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think it matters that
Does
much.
that sort of add up to the same numbers? I
What's
guess
that,
you're
12
saving
or 24,
on
36 hours.
commute.
Yeah. I don't know maths or sleeping. Yeah.
Dave, you're good at maths.
I probably would have done, I think the most productive method is you get up at about midday and then you faff about for a bit.
Oh, okay.
And then you do like an hour's work, and then you have dinner, and then you go to bed again.
Oh, great. I've stumbled upon the best system.
It's the podcasting way.
Yeah, that's right.
You see that video of the guy who's changed everything? He's reinvented time. He goes, I now get 4 days every day. Or something like
that's
that.
right, yes.
I go, midnight to 8 a.m., that's 1 day. Done. 8 a.m. it's like, every year, I've got 3 times as many days. Every decade, also 3 times. It's good stuff. I think he was being serious. It did feel like
It did feel that
parody,
way, yeah.
but it did feel, yeah.
It's impossible to tell nowadays.
No, it is. It is. So anyone, like, you can't ever go, that's ridiculous, because you're like, almost definitely, they're like, yeah, that.
Even if it was
That
a
was the
parody,
point.
somebody's going to try it.
Yeah.
You know.
So apparently the company was saved from bankruptcy with an investment from Creatures Inc. And this allowed the game's completion, but also proved to be a pretty shrewd investment because apparently Creatures Inc. received 1/3 of the franchise rights in return.
All right, and do they pay several $100 billion for this?
No, I think they just invested to finish off the game. The first,
Just a little bit.
yeah, it's Dragon's Den sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Creatures Inc.
Yeah.
That also comes up at the start of the game.
Oh, okay. Well, there you
Oh,
go.
well, Google says it's a company.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So it all seems legit.
Pretty good. A Japanese video game company affiliated with Game Freak. That's what Wikipedia's telling us. It's exciting. It's a successor to another company called Ape Inc.
Oh,
And
So
during
that's a little gift for you, Matt.
Oh my God.
You could do
Ape Inc?
You could do a Primates episode on it.
But do they change to Creatures Inc. because they're like, in the Pokemon game, there's lots of little creatures?
Oh, maybe, and including Primates,
Primate.
which did a what's my show called? Primates
Primates.
episode about
Primate.
recently.
And also, who has evolved from Mankey. That's another one.
That's right. Yeah, well, I think we talked about Mankey, and there's another Primeape and something else. There's 3 stages normally.
Oh, right. No, not always, but I think that when they release new, like 100, whatever, they often like, oh, actually, we've discovered that this one evolves again.
Oh,
So I think
okay.
that-
All
so in
right.
the original 150, it's only Mankey and Primate, but maybe they came back and said, no, there's an even bigger ape.
You'd feel ripped off if you were a Pokemon that couldn't evolve.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah.
Second evolution, Annihilate.
Oh,
Wow.
that's good.
Yeah.
So it goes Mankey, unevolved. It says fighting, which I guess is
That's a
thing
Fighting
about-
type, sure.
Yeah, it is, yeah. Like
Yeah.
Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan.
Hey, what's your type? I'm grass. What are you? Fighting.
Now run.
First
And
evolution.
what do we do mostly? Fighting. Yeah, that's good. That's
Oh,
right.
What about grass?
My special
Grass is
evolution.
what Quinty
Yeah.
would be.
My special evolution is these brass knuckles that I have.
So then it becomes Primeape, again fighting, and then Annihilate is fighting / ghost.
Oh, wow. That's
Damn.
cool.
Okay.
There's one called Hitmonchan that literally has boxing gloves like attached
Oh,
to it.
yeah.
And then it's like another one of the similar type is called Hitmonlee. So there's like Jackie Chan
Ah,
and Bruce
okay,
Lee
right.
and end up. But the Hitmonlee has long legs that it kicks with.
Whoa. And then Hitmon Van Damme, he's got like tape. He's got tape around his fists and he puts them in broken glass. It's brutal.
In his free time, or their free time working on Pokemon, the team at Game Freak, were given a job by Nintendo to design Yoshi, which they did, which was a bit of success. So they were given another one, Mario and Wario. Wario?
Yeah, Wario.
It is Wario?
It's
not
Wario.
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 Yeah,
Some
Mario
people
and
say-
Wario.
A lot of people say Wario.
Wario. But it is Wario.
I don't know.
I think it's Wario.
Yeah.
It rhymes with Mario.
Yeah, that makes more sense. For Mario and
Yeah.
Wario.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
But
they
anyway,
also
so
design
they-
Waluigi?
No, I think Wario might have already been around. That was just the game Mario and Wario,
okay,
which was
right.
never released outside of Japan, but it was there.
wow.
They also did Sega's Pulse Man.
Not heard of that guy.
You haven't heard of Pulse Man?
No, I haven't.
He's a guy who drives around in a Nissan Pulsar.
Wow.
Going, hey, can I hang out with you? And people saying, no.
No, go away.
Go away, Pulse Man.
God. Oh, yeah, he's pretty generic. All right.
Can I see you've got a
Yeah,
photo
there
there?
is. There's Pulse Man.
Pulse Man. Okay.
Now, if you were going to call this game good or bad, what would you say?
Pulse Man.
Just from looking at one photo.
Remembering
who made it.
I'll tell you what, tremendous, a triumph.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it looks sort of like a very, very common game of that era, just sort of like an action platform. Looks like a Sonic, like a Sonic sort of rip-off. Like he's fighting a sort of Dr. Robotnik.
Right.
And
it was a Sega game as well.
Yeah. But look at this logo. It's very Pokemon logo.
Yeah.
I think the, influences are apparent, well, we wouldn't have Pokemon without Pulse Man. Or Pulse Man? Who knows?
Oh, it could be Pulse Man.
Could be Pulsating Man. It's probably short for Pulsating Man.
Yeah, Pocket Monsters, Pokemon, Pulse Man, Pulsating Man.
Pulsating Man, yeah.
Pulsating Manga. Hey, we'll be back after this break, unless you're on the ad-free thing on Patreon, to tell you about the launch of Pokemon.
To make switching to the new Boost Mobile risk-free, we're offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
So why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Because you have nothing to lose. Boost Mobile is offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
No, I asked why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Oh.
Wouldn't.
Because you love wasting money as a way to punish yourself because your mother never showed you enough love as a child?
Whoa, easy there.
Yeah.
Applies to online activations. Requires port in and auto pay. Customers activating in stores may be charged non-refundable activation fees.
We all belong outside. We're drawn to nature, whether it's the recorded sounds of the ocean we doze off to, or the succulents that adorn our homes. Nature makes all of our lives, well, better. Despite all this, we often go about our busy lives removed from it. But the outdoors is closer than we realize. With All Trails, you can discover trails nearby and explore confidently. With offline maps and on-trail navigation, download the free app today and make the most of your summer with All Trails.
So, after much sweat and tears, on the 27th of February 1996, Pocket Monsters was released for the Game Boy in Japan. According to PBS's Storied, the game was produced with an unusual and frankly genius feature. Released in 2 cartridges, Pokemon Red and Pokemon Green, you had to trade with another player to collect them all, since 11 of the original 151 Pocket Monsters would only evolve after trading, an intentional design choice by Tajiri, who aimed to promote social connection in the real world.
He just wanted to use that damn cable.
Yeah, the slogan was, "Don't be a loser. Don't be a Quinty."
You don't have a friend to trade with?
Wow.
I can't remember if I've written it down in a couple paragraphs down, which will be annoying, but Mr. Nintendo,
Shigeru Miyamoto.
He suggested that as an idea because the team at Game Freak are like 2 cartridges.
Yeah.
There's no way they'll let us do this, even if we'd thought of it. But he suggested it and he got it across the line.
Okay, all right. Did you just have the one cartridge?
Yes, I had when it came out here, it was Pokemon Red and Blue, and I remember I went with my mum to Maya, the department store in the city.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of it.
And
part of the Coles Maya group.
I could pick blue or red.
Oh yeah.
And my friend in primary school, Nick, had the red one, so I chose blue. But I remember the lady at the counter handed it over and said, "Now, are you sure you want this one? Because it's got a seal on here, Maya seal, and once you open it, you won't be able to return it. So make sure you want it." And that made me really think about it a lot.
Oh, it's got a seal, the Nintendo seal of approval.
Yeah,
that's what it has.
But and I've still got the box.
Oh,
still got it all.
It's probably worth a lot.
Pokemon Blue might be, and then I also later got Pokemon Yellow.
What would you do if you were like, I got blue, and then you went to school and you're like, because I'm going to match up with you, Nick, because you've got red, and he'd already got a friend who'd got Pokemon Blue.
Oh my God, I'd have to find someone. I'd be walking around the primary school playground with my empty cable going, "Can I connect with you?"
Right.
Sorry, I've already connected with Tina.
Yeah.
Can I connect with you? Sorry, Chloe's my friend.
Wow.
And I was there wandering. No, fortunately, I was able to trade with Nick and it was good.
Yeah, nice. Great. Crisis averted.
Fortunately, I had lots of friends, so it was great.
Yeah, you go. And Chloe and
also
Tina.
my cousin Jackson as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Jackson.
Yeah.
I will talk about it once we get to the worldwide release, but it was changed from green and red to blue and red.
Interesting.
Green and red be too Christmassy, maybe.
Yeah, and it wasn't coming out at Christmas.
And red and green should never be seen, as we know.
That's right.
Exactly.
They were trying to get it out for Christmas, but it ended up coming out in February. It just all got pushed back, and they're like, we've released such poor timing for so many reasons. So The main character was called Satoshi and his rival Shigeru, as a tribute to Satoshi Tajiri and Shigeru Miyamoto. The game was launched without a lot of fanfare. Media and industry expectations for the game were low, for reasons like it was put out, at a bad time of year when the Game Boy was kind of coming to the end of its life cycle. It's designed specifically for a Game Boy, and the Game Boy came out like 6-7 years earlier.
Yeah.
Right.
And it said from the producers of Quinty on the box. So people like,
That really made people go.
expectations in the floor.
That's what the lady actually in Maya said. She said, are you sure?
Yeah.
You know that the last people made Quinty.
Yeah. those game freaks?
According to Howard Chua-Eon and Tim Larimer, how can you break that down? Because I'm going to reference them a couple times.
Oh.
HCE?
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
I would say, yeah. According to HCE. According to CE and L.
Yeah, a couple of boys. Yeah.
Oh, is that two separate people now?
Yeah.
CE and L?
Howard Chua-Eon
Are these guys critics?
and Tim Larimer. They're journalists, gaming journalists for Time magazine.
Call them the media.
The media. According to the
According
media.
to the media. According to the biased media.
Well, according to them, Nintendo released the game.
Say them, gone to them.
But did not expect much from it. However, while the big electronic companies were giving up on Game Boy, Japanese boys were not. For them, the games and the old technology were still affordable. The flashier and high-tech new models were out of reach. Also, I read things about like some of the newer models put out by those. The battery life was awful.
Oh, the Game Gear, like that was.
Whereas the Game Boy
Yeah,
just would last all day.
because it was worse. But I had a Game Boy and a Game Gear, and you could play that. You could play that Game Boy on a long car trip, but like you're getting like an hour out of the Game Gear.
Which one was the Game Gear? What did that look
The
like?
Game Gear was a Sega Master System in it was color. Yeah, it was like quite wide, and you could put a TV tuner in it instead of a game. You could slot in a TV tuner with a big aerial, and you could tune in television.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's sick.
Yeah.
For 1 hour.
For 1 hour. I mean, you may as well have been watching TV in your house because you'd have to plug it in.
Yeah.
You'd have to plug in an AC adapter. So I don't know.
But if you had had one in your bedroom or something, that would have been pretty exciting as a kid.
Yeah, that's right.
Those guys go on. Howard Chua-Eon and
You
Tim
gotta say
Larimer.
those guys from Time or something.
Yeah,
According to
that's
Time
it.
magazine.
Howard and Tim.
Mainstream media.
Howie and T.
Pokemon sales grew slowly and steadily, and they did not stop. Tajiri generated further word of mouth by designing a secret twist in the programming.
It would kill you in real life if you lost. Yeah.
That's right. Do you bet your life, yes or no? Oh,
Whoops.
I've got you. I know you're only 7 years old, but I've got you.
You got to buy another copy.
So yeah, he did that. The blood pact. But also he added a secret 151st Pokemon into the software.
Damn.
Named Mew.
Whoa.
And Tajiri
Oh my god, they put Mew in it? My goodness.
Apparently it really
It sounds
did.
like one of those things that you'd say at primary school, like, oh my God, do you know if you do this 58 times, you'll get this for free?
Yeah, that's right.
But apparently that,
It was like, you know there's a secret Pokemon in there?
all these...
I heard it from my uncle who works at Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto. You heard of him? You're lying. You've made it up.
And that did happen. There were a lot of like urban myths that went around about it as well. It's like, there's a special truck you look under, and that's where Mew is. But it wasn't,
The truck's in real life.
He was hiding under a truck.
It's at a 7-Eleven.
There was this like glitch in the game called, I think it's called Masingu is what people refer to it as. If you went surfing, which is if you get a water Pokemon, you can ride them. And if you went surfing off the coast of one of the towns.
Did you ride many Pokemon, Dave?
Yeah, absolutely. Gyarados good for that. And a Pokemon would, because if a Pokemon attacks you, it would say blah blah, wild Bellsprout has appeared, and then you have to battle them. But this thing, it would come up with a sort of glitchy sort of like black pixels, and it would say wild Masingu has appeared. And I think there's some people who played this more recently, they're going to be yelling at their iPods. But if you had like one of your items in your backpack in a certain spot, and then you battle them, it would duplicate the item, so you could get. And there's a thing called a Master Ball. Because there's all these different types of Pokeball. There's a Pokeball,
Get a load of this guy.
a Super Ball, an Ultra Ball, and then there's a Master Ball. And the Master Ball, if you throw it at any Pokemon, you capture them and they can't get out. Oh, yeah. Which I think you
Even
needed.
Mew?
You needed to capture Mew too. But if you did this thing with this Masingo thing, you could like duplicate the Master Ball, so you'd have like 1,000 Master Balls. So any Pokemon would appear, you'd be like, I want that one. I want that one. I'll take that one. Yep.
Was that a a mistake, or was that
I
a...
don't know if it's a mistake or an on-purpose glitch that they put in there.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Anyways, so Tajiri was like, you could only acquire Mew by interacting. Without trading, you can never get Mew. And the rumors started flying of a secret monster that only a few people had the key to unlock, and more games sold. CMI writes, the truth is, in the final hours of development, Mew was not in the game. At that point, nothing was supposed to be taken away, added, or altered in any way. But with a surprise amount of bytes to spare, how could the developers resist squeezing in the mythical feline Pokemon? Because the Mew is like a cat monster.
You got those spare bytes, you got to put something in, you know?
You gotta, don't waste those bytes. It's like it's like pop pump CDs from the late 90s.
Yeah, bonus track at the end or at the start.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'd wind the CD back and it would be...
And it ends up having like 18 songs on it.
And I mean, if you're in the video game industry, it's either a bonus character or like a weird pixelated nude woman that they've, digitized in, and
yeah,
very upsetting.
So I've looked up this thing that in primary school we called the Missingu.
Yeah.
It actually is a missing NO, which stands for missing number.
Oh.
But it's so funny in my mind. I'm like, I'm sure it said Missingu because that's just what kids in the playground refer to it as.
Bit of fun. I think yours is better. Missingu is better than missing no.
Yeah.
So talking about how they at the last minute added in, Shigeki Morimoto said, we put Mew in right at the very end. Morimoto works as a programmer on Pokemon Red and Green. The cartridge was really full and there wasn't room for much more on there. Then the debug features that weren't going to be included in the final version of the game were removed, creating a minuscule 300 bytes of free space. So we thought we could slot Mew in there. What we did would be unthinkable these days.
That's right.
You couldn't get away with that now.
No, they put you in jail.
Slotting Mew into the final
300
bytes?
That's right.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, good lord.
Come on.
Wow.
And anyway, it was a surprise smash hit.
Yeah. Why don't you just put Dr. Disrespect in the new Call of Duty? Why do you do that? I don't know. But it would be, you couldn't do it these days.
They put a secret man in Call of Duty.
Secret man.
Oh, we weren't supposed to, but he's a secret man.
It's Quinty.
It's Quinty holding a machine gun.
Yeah.
Finally getting some revenge.
I think that'd be fun. Quinty goes bananas or something.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
Quinty goes postal. So by September, remembering came out just early in that year in Feb, it sold more than 1 million units.
Wow.
And this is just in Japan. As Game Freak grew, apparently they got new employees.
More freaks.
More freaks on board.
Freakier the better.
You have to do a freaky audition. That's all right. Freak us out. Go.
And they do that thing where they put their arm, like they dislocate their arm, put it over their head.
You're in.
Jeez. Oh, my
in.
God.
Oh, God.
You're a true freak.
Stop it. You're in. Stop it. I hate it. I love it. You're in.
Guys, look at this. It looks like my knees are swapping sides.
Oh, my God. Oh, we've got to hire this freak.
Everything they see, they don't get out much.
Yeah, that's right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But apparently they're new employees, interns and whatnot.
New employees.
They'd get to work on bugs for the red and green editions.
As in,
when you say little, do you mean like software bugs or do you mean new bugs?
do you mean like Caterpie, a bug type Pokemon?
I think both. I think they're trying to fix little problems, like missing goo.
Well, they missed Missingu. They missed Missingu. They missed it.
But also, they were encouraged maybe to make new characters as well. This was meant to just be a training exercise, and they were thinking, maybe we'll even give 50 of these games out to people who work here. But it ended up getting a bit of buzz, and some of the hires up. It was a bit controversial internally, but they ended up wanting
Did someone say buzz?
Now, you can't do it when you try, mate.
It's a shame.
Trying to get that lead to make a noise. I'm sorry, you can't.
Could we add one in post?
Yeah.
It's something really upsetting.
Okay. Connor or AJ?
Do your thing.
Go now.
Work your magic.
I think some were like, it would be very confusing for us to release basically the same game, slightly different. People would be expecting it to be a new game. They'll feel ripped off or whatever. But others were like, no, we'll make it really clear. So they ended up making a really clear thing. Here's a bonus. Thank you for it being so successful or whatever. And it was released as Blue Edition in October of 96. And it was expected to sell maybe 300,000, ended up selling over 600,000 copies.
Wow.
It was just like a slightly different version of the same.
Here's a thank you. We'd like to sell this game to you for $60.
That's right.
Retail.
My favourite ad for just how cheeky it was the Furphy ad. There's like a beer, and it was made by Little Creatures, who's owned by one of the big internationals.
Not sponsored, but we'd take offers.
We would take offers.
Oh, yeah.
But their ad, because it was like their ad on radio was, Victoria, to say thank you, we're making a beer for you. Furphy. It's like you're selling that beer to us.
Yeah.
As a
Say
thank
thanks.
you?
Yeah. We should be able to go to our local GP and get a free beer.
Do you normally have to pay for a gift? For a thank you?
They should use all the vaccination sites that are disused, and we should all line up and get handed a beer.
Yeah, that's
to say thank you.
People thought, oh, what are these vaccination sites or these places where people go to quarantine? They'll be useless after things die down. Not if we start giving away beer in them.
That's right, yeah. Furphy.
I don't know if they've thought about that.
Yeah.
They're just sitting vacant right now.
Mm-hmm.
Costs
Just
you money
line up
not to give
taps.
out beer.
Yeah. Turn them all into
interesting.
beer sheds.
That's interesting that it came out of like, just have a bit of fun and invent some Pokemon. And that's how. Have you guys done an episode on Pong? You know,
No.
The tennis game, for the Atari, that came out of a training exercise. At Atari, they're just like, they got all the new guys to just invent a little thing. They're like, come up with a little concept,
cool,
and we'll bring it back and we'll workshop it. And somebody brought in Pong, and they're like, no notes, let's release this.
Pong is so good.
Gosh, I hope that person got their cut, and it wasn't like,
Yeah.
thanks for the training exercise, we've decided to hire none of you.
Yeah.
Now we're making Pong.
Yeah, we've learned from Nintendo, we are not paying you.
We've learnt from the comic book industry.
That's right.
But yeah, that was like not a secret game, but a little game you could play inside of Commander Keen.
Oh yeah, that's
I used to love playing Pong inside of Commander Keen.
I'm sure that's come up in the last couple of months.
Yeah. I love mentioning Commander Keen and Pong.
Oh, maybe actually you talked about it on our Dungeons and Dragons show on Patreon. You talked about the mini game. You said you loved that more than the actual game.
Yeah.
Alan Alcorn created Pong.
All right, and how many $1 billion is Alan Alcorn worth?
Let's find out.
Gosh, I hope you got paid, Alan. Maybe you'll talk about it too, but the finances with this, Matt, are these the triumvirate, the three that started Game Freak? Are they getting paid well, or is Nintendo owning everything?
No, I think they're doing quite well. Game Freak was still
they get their own
you still
cut.
saw their name on the thing.
Yeah, great. So it's not like awesome. So you were working for us when you came up with that. So we already paid you $25 an hour. So
no, I don't.
Okay.
I think
I was just worried. He's
still
minted.
Mr. Game, Mr. Factory,
Dr. Bug.
What's Dr. Bug? Is still a freak.
It says here, after Atari sold to Warner Communications in 1976, Alcorn was being paid not to show up for work. So that's it's all worth it.
That's
as far as I'm
living.
concerned.
That's living.
Yeah,
Hey, wait, was he real life Quinty?
it might have been. Yeah,
We'll pay
please,
you not to be.
if you wouldn't mind. Alcorn was involved in several startups directly afterwards, including Cummer, a reprogrammable video game cartridge kiosk system. That's CUMMA. Cummer.
You take the cartridge out and you put a bit of yourself in. Cummer.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if the game's not working, you got to blow into the cartridge.
That's pretty good. If Mesa was concentrating, I'm sure he would have loved that.
Was it rude?
It was very rude.
Well, I would love that.
It was borderline disgusting.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm a real game freak.
According to the BBC, after the success of the first two games, a company called Media Factory created the Pokémon trading card game, or TCG for short. The first set of cards were released on October the 20th, 1996, containing 102 cards with drawings by Ken Sugimori, Mitsuro Arita, and Keiji Kinabuchi. So that was the same year. Like, it started, it went from this thing that no one really expected much of, and then they're like, oh, shit.
We need a card game.
We can cash in on this.
Yeah.
Well, it's hot.
We're not even going to include all the Pokemon in the card game.
Yeah.
You're going to have to pay extra for those.
102.
We'll do 102, and 15 of those will be energy cards that no one really gives a shit about.
And we won't tell anyone that they're not all in there, so people have to keep it. I'm just missing 39 cards. But yeah, this is all still just in Japan. The The drawings depicted the magnificent beasts, and where you could find them was on the cards. Describing the Pokemon, PBS says, these fantastical creatures exist as sentient beings somewhere between wild animals and beloved pets. The Pokemon are inspired by flora and fauna, science, religion, yokai, and other supernatural beings. The series teams with not just Japanese folklore, but versions of monsters from across the globe, made cute with softened features. Quite a few of the monstrum monsters have Pokemon counterparts like the Golem, Yuki Onna, Godzilla, Mothra, Banshees, Hellhounds, Monstrous Plants, and Kasha. Apologies for... I know
you mean Kesha, the music superstar.
I meant Kesha, yeah.
Oh, right.
Jerry Seinfeld won't hug her.
Yeah. No, thanks. Because there is so they're all influences, is that what you were saying? They're all influences for Pokemon?
Yes, all of those apparently have Pokemon counterparts.
Oh, there is one called Golem, and that's one of the ones you can only get if you trade a Graveler to a friend, then it evolves.
Oh,
okay, you got to trade
classic.
a Graveler.
Classic.
Then you get a Golem.
Classic Pokemon technique.
And then you have to say, okay, now can you please trade it back?
Oh.
And the friend might be like, sorry.
Oh,
cable's
really?
not working.
Yeah.
And you'd be in the same room if you're there with the cable.
Yeah.
Sorry. I can see that it is.
I can see you unplugging it. I can see you packing up and going home with your mum.
You just cut it with scissors. That's my cable.
I'm playing Pack 'em Up and Go, so I have to go.
Tajiri was also inspired by some of the creatures he caught as a kid, as we sort of probably assumed.
Weedle. It's definitely
sure.
Which is a little caterpillar wormy thing.
Courtney Miff said, Intreglia, CMI, writes, these critters provided inspiration for bug-type Pokemon, a frequent presence in early Pokemon games, lurking in fields of tall grass and foreboding forests. Tajiri was able to preserve the world of his childhood in Pokemon. For instance, Poliwhirl has a belly decorated with a little swirl, which was inspired by Tajiri's memory of the transparent skin of a tadpole with its coiled innards visible beneath. Did you know that?
That's where the whirl comes from.
That's where the whirl comes from.
And here's another fact. There's Poliwag, which becomes Poliwhirl, which becomes Poliwrath.
Oh, yeah.
And I think
when does it become Polywaffle?
the direction...
When does it become a Polycule?
Well, if you get enough of them together. When they evolve, the direction of the squiggle changes.
Oh.
Bit of fun.
That's detail.
Same with the tadpole.
But I never knew about
gizzards.
it. Was intestines.
Yeah. If you get a tadpole and you swing it around enough, the direction of its gizzards will change.
Well, yeah,
around.
it depends if the tadpole's southern or northern
that's
hemisphere.
true, yeah. Mm-hmm.
The following March, the Pokemon Adventures manga. Is it manga or manga? I heard someone on a video I watched about this say manga.
I would,
but it's manga, isn't it? Or it doesn't.
It's probably close to manga.
Manga.
But we would all say manga.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the Australian accent,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah.
It'll change things.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll change you.
We'd call it mango.
We'd go, mangoes. Oh.
Yeah, that's where that comes from.
Mangoes.
Yeah.
So yeah, which is a comic, right? A manga.
Yes.
And that was launched. And then in April, Pocket Monsters, the anime TV show, was launched. So it all happened really quickly. This is all within just over a year of the initial game being launched. Now there's a cartoon series that's out.
That's amazing.
And it's really good, right, Dave? Cartoon
Well,
series?
I'm not sure if it's the original one that I've watched. Or
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, I mean, it's the original version, but I think yours before it was dubbed.
Oh, you telling me that Cheese TV weren't playing the Japanese version?
Well, like I told you before, Ash, his name wasn't Ash. It was whatever I said earlier. According to Chua Eon and Larima, with a hit on its hands, Nintendo decided to animate the game. The show, produced in anime style, quickly became the top-rated children's TV series in Japan. And according to PBS, part of the franchise's success was its ability to appeal to all genders and a far wider age range than previously believed possible. And a big part of that appeal? Pikachu. While many Pokemon are undeniably cute, with large eyes, expressive faces, and exaggerated features, they create strong emotional attachments with consumers when placed in narratives in the anime and manga, contributing to their perception as kawaii.
Cute.
Yeah. Okay, because PBS continues, kawaii means more than just cute.
Oh, sorry.
It's really a cultural touchstone that
Well,
began
take
in the
off my face.
1970s.
I'll leave.
Something is kawaii only if it is cute, soft, round, childlike, and childlike features are complemented by their sweet and gentle attributes.
Oh my god, my ears are burning.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're all a bit pretty kawaii over here, aren't we? You know, they should call us the Kawaii Boys. Hashtag Kawaii Boys.
One of the anime's creators, Masakazu Kubo, has said that the original anime's target demographic was young girls and mothers. PBS goes on, remember the original Nintendo games graphics were far simpler than what they are today. It's difficult to show cute in 8-bit, so which Pokemon could make the leap from the console screen and into the hearts of the masses? It's Pikachu.
It's Pikachu.
Chosen for its bright, non-aggressive color, easy to say name, sweet expressive face, and memorable, cuddly silhouette, Pikachu became a global icon akin to Mickey Mouse or Hello Kitty. Did you know, this was going to be my fun fact at the end, but did you know how it got its name? Pika.
He's going to tell us.
Oh, thank goodness, because we were like...
Yeah. Pika apparently is the sound Japanese people say an electric spark makes, and chew the sound a mouse makes.
I called it like an electric mouse.
Yeah, it'd be like Spark Mouse.
Yeah. Sparky Mouse.
Sparky Mouse. That's not bad.
Okay, yeah.
It's this huge hit, but there were many bumps in the road. So the next little while, I'm going to talk about some of the controversies and whatnot.
Oh, I love it.
You know, any pop cultural behemoth is bound to have a bunch of controversies.
I mean, Do Go On hasn't. You're a cultural behemoth.
Well, we are.
You haven't gotten cancelled yet. Maybe this is the episode.
We've brushed a lot under the rug.
Yeah.
We do get messages sometimes.
Stop what you're doing, I'll sue you.
Yeah.
Okay, you haven't stopped, I am suing you. See you in the Supreme Court. We just put those letters in the bin.
That's right. We'll call you later, Mum. Mum.
Wow, that's great stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, this first one though is not one of the ones that I think is normally predicted when a big thing, big cultural thing. According to Chia Ewan and Larimer, in December of 1997, about 700 children had sudden and simultaneous seizures. While watching the show. The specific episode involved a bomb attack on Pikachu and its pals.
Okay, that's pretty grim.
Was it from a Pokemon or was there a jet dropping a bomb on them?
Yeah, or a mad bomber of some sort.
No, I think this was just a visual effect of the shows. Because in a microsecond, animated flashes interacted with frenetically changing colors as Pikachu blinked out its lightning bolts across the screen. Apparently, such combinations of light can induce seizures in some children, and while the government investigated, the show shut down for 4 months, and the producers revised their animation strategies.
I'll be honest, whenever I'd see like flashing sequences in a movie or TV series, I'm like, I better look slightly to the side.
Oh, right, you try and turn your head
I'm like,
a bit.
well, it hasn't happened yet, but maybe this is the one.
And that's based on this?
Yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
That was always the childhood rumor, I think, that you would,
So, yeah, this sort of like, do you watch much Futurama? There's like the...
Hypnotoad,
is that?
Yeah, it's like the
Inspired
Hypnotoad.
by?
Yeah, maybe.
So, yeah, that was bad. I think a couple of kids might have been hospitalized, but there were no fatalities or anything. So,
it's pretty good.
But yeah, then they changed how they animated.
Exactly. It's not like they meant to do it, is it?
No.
So, very shocked by it.
Hey, we're freaks, but we're not those kind of freaks, all right?
Chua, Ian, and Larimer continue. The Pikachu crisis stirred a huge amount of attention and publicity, but the wrong kind.
I would say any publicity is good publicity, but maybe not giving seizures to children.
Yeah, there's a
line. It's
line.
Giving seizures to children. Yes,
yeah, some sort of advertising executive saying this is fantastic.
This is good
you
stuff.
can't pay for this kind of coverage. You are on all the front pages of the newspapers around the world.
Yeah, kids they're all sitting down and watch this episode. It's been pirated.
Don't miss out, kids.
The article continues. At the time, negotiations were happening with skeptical executives at Nintendo America about introducing Pokemon to the US.
Skeptical executives is a good...
skeptical executives.
Just a good mouth work out there.
Yeah. Apparently some of them are like, they don't really see it working in an American market. They weren't so sure. And the first headline Americans read about Pokemon was, Cartoon Monster Attacks Kids. So not an ideal start, perhaps. Gail Tilden, Vice President of Product Acquisition and Development at Nintendo of America, said...
She sounds like a skeptical executive.
She said, quite honestly, role-playing games, particularly for the Game Boy system, were never popular in the US. We had a real concern that the role-playing nature of the game would be a hard sell for us. Apparently, in America, they were saying it's no good. And then I think... maybe Final Fantasy, is that a role-playing game?
That is, yeah.
Became a hit, and they were like, oh no, maybe does that timing work out?
Maybe Final Fantasy VII, probably.
Yeah.
Something. Yeah, that was the big crossover, I think.
And then
the nerds liked all the previous Final Fantasy games, but
and then I think maybe that helped it get launched there or something. I'm pretty sure I heard that at some point. Anyway,
actually, Final Fantasy VII was 1997. Yeah, it kind of works out. Yeah, that works out.
Right, yeah. So Masakazu Kubu, who was involved in the negotiation from the Pokemon side, said the negotiations were not easy. He called he called Gail Tilden the Dragon Mother. But in the end,
a real Dragonite, am I right?
What is that? Oh, that's one of the
Pokemon.
From context, I think he means it's probably a reference to a Pokemon.
You know what?
Yeah.
The context should have instantly told me that. And it did as I was asking the question, to be honest. But still, it should have been... The brain
should have been clearer,
out.
Dave.
You
should have said, like the Pokemon Dragonite.
She sounds a lot like the Pokemon Dragonite.
In my head went, oh, is that a kind of D&D thing?
Yeah. I was like, is that an element? Is that, you know?
But in the end, Nintendo America were convinced, and possibly because of Final Fantasy VII, and they thought maybe we can repeat the franchise's Japanese success stateside. Plus, they already had all the various Pokemon properties to work with: the video games, cards, comic books, and TV show.
Yeah, they basically, they didn't have to make anything.
Yeah,
so
they did well. They just had to. They had to, as Kubo said, they had to hide its Japanness a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Make it more American friendly. But they went big. They did all that, and I'll talk a bit in a second about how they tweak things for the American market.
Yeah, they made a Freedom Mon and
well, I mean,
Gunman. They love freedom and guns.
They do. It's true.
The two things you know about America, Dave. So, according to CMI, the games would be renamed Pokemon Red version and Pokemon Blue version.
Nice.
Keeping the monsters found in Japanese red and green, respectively. The decision to change the name and color was thanks to Hiro Nakamura, an integral member of the US team for localizing the games. It was his kind of experimenting with people and understanding that blue is the most popular color in America, and starting with red and blue would be better than starting with red and green.
Yeah, the color's the American flag.
Yeah, goddamn right.
Tilden said, it wouldn't matter in the triangulation of water, fire, plant, which two led. What does that mean? It wouldn't matter in the triangulation of water, fire, plant, which two led.
Maybe it didn't. It wouldn't change the internal
okay.
logic of the game.
Right,
I guess.
and the way the game starts is you get given either a water, fire, or grass Pokemon.
Okay.
You get your choices: Squirtle, Charmander, and Bulbasaur. Okay. And you got to pick one of those three.
Yeah, right.
And then your rival, who in the Pokemon, in the English version, Matt, is called Gary.
Yeah.
You battle against Gary. Gary gets another one.
And Gary thumps you? Is that generally how
Yeah,
that
because
happens?
usually whenever you pick the fire one, he'll get the water one, and water trumps fire.
Yeah. Okay. Teaches a little lesson about, I don't know, this guy. He's probably got rich parents or something. Gary.
He's a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's got connections. He's Professor Oak's nephew.
Yeah, okay.
So, you know.
CMI continues. The games placed Charizard in the final evolutionary stage of flame-tailed Charmander on the cover of Red, and Blastoise the tortoise-like behemoth and final evolutionary stage of Turtle Squirtle on the cover of the Blue. Kids would not only trade between themselves but instantly understand the inherent competition going on. Which one did you get, Red or Blue?
Got Blue.
We know, Dave. You won't stop banging on about it.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. For the launch, they went big in America. And they went big like months before it even came out. This is CMI. It was a particularly hot day in Topeka, Kansas on August the 27th, 1998. Temperatures reached a sweltering 97 degrees, making it one of the most scorching days that month. For the 2,500 lucky kids gathered in the city, it was about to start raining. Raining Pikachu, that is.
Do they choose Topeka because it's going to be to Pikachu?
It officially became to Pikachu.
That's great.
Yeah, for the day it was renamed.
It's raining to Pikachu.
So that afternoon, 700 stuffed Pikachu were dropped from the air along with 10 skydivers who landed and then
landed on the children.
Yeah.
raced away in yellow Pikachu-themed Volkswagen New Beetles, each painted yellow.
God, this is so 1998. My goodness.
With 2 pointy ears fixed to the roof and a lightning bolt tail on the back. The poker-themed Bonanza was a month before the Pokemon anime's North American debut and celebrated the arrival of the games, which were already wildly popular in Japan and the US. Pokemon Pretty Neat read the front page of the Topeka Capital Journal.
Classic play on words there.
Pokemon Pretty Neat. And is that like a quote from a kid?
Oh, I thought you could help me. I wasn't sure. What does that mean?
I don't think it means anything.
Okay.
Pokemon is pretty neat.
Pokemon Pretty Neat.
That sounds-
I assumed it must have been some sort of Pokemon pun. It's not.
No, it sounds to me just like an adult who's just like, this is the best they can do.
Yeah.
Like, I have no interest in this. Pretty neat, I guess. Kids seem to like it.
And you would there's no way you'd expect it to actually turn into anything, really, would you?
Yeah, it's funny getting all these kids hyped up for a thing they've never seen before.
Yeah.
Whoa, look at all the Pikachus. What's that?
Yeah. It's so funny. But they were hyped up for it. I mean, they already knew that seizures could be caused.
Yeah, that's true.
That was the headline that ran alongside a picture of a 7-year-old hugging a gigantic Pikachu plush. Nintendo chose Topeka because it was in the center of the country, but also surely it came into it that they could rename it to Pikachu for the day. The newspaper article, they continue to phone it in. It continued, they came, they saw, they sold.
Oh, wow. That is so bad.
Yeah.
Noting that
they didn't even pay attention to what a Pokemon was, did they? Whoa, a few people bought them. Came and saw they sold. Happy with that?
I guess they were
Pretty
talking about how it was wild that they were already selling a thing that
I guess they
hadn't
made
really
those
been...
kids a Pikachu they couldn't refuse. You know what I mean? You get it.
Talking before about how Kubo said that part of the strategy was to make it hide its Japanness a little bit. Which is so funny because it feels like it's such an inherently Japanese franchise.
And I think it was also in that era where they couldn't just go, this is from Japan, and people would go, oh, from Japan?
Yeah.
You better get it because it's from Japan.
Right.
You know?
According to Kubo, this is some of the things they did for the American market. We tried not to have violence or sexual discrimination or religious scenes in the US.
All right.
Was there a lot of sexual discrimination
in the Japanese version? I don't know.
Well, you wouldn't have seen it. It's all been chopped out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
Quite wholesome version I've seen.
How different was the show over there?
It was mostly a workplace drama and a woman couldn't get a promotion because her boss was a sexist. Then they added the monsters, you know.
Those journalists, Chua Ewan. I can't. It's a hyphenated surname, and I can't get my head around either part of it. Which is my fault, Chua Owen, if you're listening. I think it's an Irish name, and Irish names are so tricky to me. But his friend Larimer, I'm more confident about. Anyway, they write, some graphic scenes involving punching were taken out. The names of the characters and monsters were westernized. Satoshi became Ash, and Shigeru became Gary.
Nice.
Shigeru Miyamoto.
The Pokemon were given cleverly descriptive names. For example, of the 3 more popular Pokemon, Hitokage, a salamander with a ball of fire on its tail, became Charmander. Fushigidane, a dinosaur with a green garlic bulb on its back, became Bulbasaur. And Zenigame, a turtle who squirts water, became Squirtle.
Clever descriptions. One of them has a giant tongue and its name is Lickitung.
I haven't read this paragraph here from CMI's article, but I think it gets into this. Let me read it to you, just in case it's worth reading. I believe it might be. Because the Japanese games need to be translated into English, and the Japanese Pokemon names need appropriate English counterparts. Bill Geese and Sarah Bush were localizers who pitched ideas about what each of the 151 creatures should be called.
Geese and Bush.
Geese and
Winning
Bush.
team.
We'd gotten info from Game
We're
Freak.
going to bring in Geese and Bush.
Quick. Yeah, they sound the alarm. There's a push the red button. We get
the Geese and Bush signal in the sky. Let's go.
Team GP.
So, Geese later said, we had gotten info from Game Freak and they'd tell us the genesis of these creatures and what they meant and what they were inspired by. The team worked to honour the origins of the monsters, and often that came down to literally smashing two words together, writing on the wall and trying to say it fast and going, "Is that a word?" Geese said.
You'd be losing your mind, wouldn't you? Is that something?
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 8 hours. I don't know anymore.
It's all right, only 140 to go.
Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. I remember those vividly because we were struggling with these legendary ones. And once I had it in my head, uno, dos, tres, I wrote it down on paper and I just put 3 elements together and I thought, oh my God, this might work.
Oh my God, I've never thought of that before.
You're going to have to elaborate, Dave.
So Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. Articuno is an ice Pokemon. Zapdos is an electric Pokemon, and Moltres is a fire type Pokemon. And they're these mythical birds, and there's only one of each. And they're like in these caves, and they only appear once, and it's very hard to get them. Mm-hmm. And I just never thought before.
So yeah,
Uno, dos, tres. Okay.
Articuno, Zap for the electric one, Zapdos, and Molt. What was that? That was
Moltres,
like lava.
That's it's a fire Pokemon.
Moltres.
Like a flame bird.
I'm so glad you asked that because I'm like, I didn't even, having just read it, didn't even pick that up. But yeah, that's so funny. Oh my God, this might just work.
We are fired if we don't come up with names
so
for these
funny.
three.
They just throw words together.
But how's this for a line? Oh my God, this might work. Not because it was creative, but because it meant I'd solved the problem and could now go home and have dinner.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank God.
And it's become these iconic things.
Yeah. Everyone
just
who
been banging them out.
plays the game definitely knows them.
This article's great. It's so good on Time Magazine if people are interested, by Courtney Mifsud Intreglia. Will be linked in the show notes. Other names winked at familiar pop images, which Dave mentioned before, like the martial arts Pokemon Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Obviously, Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee, like Dave mentioned before. Another was Kadabra, which British Israeli illusionist Uri Geller took umbrage to. If you don't know who Geller is, he was like a famous illusionist, but I think when he came to fame, he was just meant to be literally, it wasn't illusions, it was magic.
Bending spoons.
Yeah,
he could
bending
bend a
spoons
spoon with
is
the
his
power of
big
his
thing.
mind.
Yeah. And people really believed he could do it.
Right.
And I don't know if you know this about Kadabra, but he holds a spoon.
Yes.
And you would think it's just to gouge out the brains and eyes of his opponents, but it's in reference to this thing.
Yeah. Did you realize that before?
That has anything to do. But why is that guy taking umbrage with it? Is his name? Does he use the word Kadabra?
No, it's because Kadabra was a psychic, which is what he was, and he was depicted holding the spoon, which was his iconic thing. And also, its Japanese name wasn't Kadabra, but Yungura, and his name was Uri Geller. So he thought pretty close to Uri Geller.
Well, really, so Kadabra's the middle Pokemon. There's 3. There's Abra, there's Kadabra, and Alakazam. So if you say them all, it's Abracadabra, Alakazam.
Oh.
I think that's what they're actually going for.
Yeah, of course.
Nothing to do with this guy, really, I don't think.
No, I think it was definitely, it was based on...
He held a spoon. And this guy used spoons? Yeah, man. We are influenced by you. And he took umbrage with a little... Sounds like he should use his powers to take a good long look in the mirror.
Yeah, maybe you
get over yourself.
Maybe you bend a spoon and get over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Bend a spoon into a bridge and then go over the bridge.
Exactly.
I mean, the way he tells it, like, it's clearly he was the inspiration for it. But
but the umbrage? What's the umbrage, though?
Well, I'll quote what he says, which is, I think, pretty funny. But he sued Nintendo in 1999 for more than £60 million for allegedly using his image without his permission.
You got to see Kadabra. That's so funny. That's me. That is me. This little weird mouse thing is me.
Just comes in a court with a picture of it. It me, Your Honour.
It's me. Don't you see the resemblance? It holds a spoon. I'm the only one on earth who uses a spoon.
That's right.
According to The Guardian, Geller discovered the Ungala cards in 1999 while Christmas shopping at the Pokémon Center, a store in Tokyo devoted entirely to the Pokémon phenomenon. And his version of events...
It's funny to tell him having a breakdown in the department store.
Well, tell me if you believe his version of events. Because I'm like, to me it feels... I don't know was Geller fever at fever pitch in Japan in 1999? I don't know. But this is what he said. At first, he was bemused when the store manager rushed out from his office, continuously bowing as hundreds of children thrust Pokemon cards at him to autograph while chanting what sounded like Uri Geller. So he thinks, as far as he's telling it, hundreds of kids see this middle-aged magician and swamp him because they know he's the Pokemon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that caused him such distress.
But I love that
I hate this adulation.
But he's also saying what they're saying sounded to me like my name.
Yeah.
But
Yungara. Yeah. I mean, if that is what happened, that's enough for me. Case closed.
$60 million.
So Geller got the lawyers involved all across the world in Japan, Europe, America, Latin America, and Australasia. At the time, he stated, quote, this is Dave, this is what he took umbrage.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Nintendo turned me into an evil, occult Pokemon character. Nintendo stole my identity by using my name and my signature image. The spoon. Within 4 years, the suit was dismissed in America, but continued on elsewhere, and Nintendo responded by quietly deleting the character from its card game in 2002. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, Geller seemed to have a change of heart, posting online in 2020,
whoa,
I am truly sorry for what I did 20 years ago. Kids and grown-ups, I'm releasing the ban. It's now all up to Nintendo to bring my Kadabra Pokemon card back.
It never had anything to do with you.
Look, I think it did, Dave.
If you go to Uri Geller's Wikipedia page, it's not the only litigation he's threatened or submitted for various slights against him. So that's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
apparently he wrote to the president of the company similar thoughts and got a positive reply back. And then in August of 2022, he posted, the reason I changed my mind, first of all, I did a stupid thing for suing them. I was just angry that my name appeared on a Pokemon card out of the blue without ever being asked. The most important thing in these 20 years, I became a grandfather.
Oh, his kids started liking, grandkids liked Pokemon.
I saw my granddaughters and I thought, come on, you got to release the Pokemon card back into circulation again. Hence my letter. And what a nice letter they sent back. I'm really happy about it. And finally, in 2023, the character was returned to the card game. And final thoughts here from Uri Geller, and you'll enjoy a little bit of a third-person reference to himself. Okay. Now we can all see Kadabra reunited with the original Pokemon in the card game. I love you all. And I admit, totally open and honest, I was a fool. It was a devastating mistake for me to sue Pokemon. Kadabra was basically a tribute to Uri Geller. But it's back now. Forgive me. I love you all. Much love and energy.
Wow.
It's a beautiful end to a,
I forgive you,
to
Yuri.
a saga.
I forgive you.
You just he went from losing a fan, Dave, to regaining that fan.
Absolutely. And gaining some respect for admitting that he was wrong.
Yeah. It is so like...
for one, I'm going to go watch YouTube videos of him bending spoons now because that sounds impressive.
Anyway, back to the American launch. Having turned down the Japanness, Pokemon was launched in America, and as Stuart Owen and Larimer write, once again, the Pokemon swept a nation. We've never seen anything like it, says Tilden, the dragon mother, as
that's right.
Kubo called her. But I think he said it, it wasn't like... It sounded negative to me, and then he explained it. He's like, oh, it was really good to have her on the other side of the negotiation. It was great. She is an actual mother, and I think that was really important. So I'm like, oh, yeah, I forget in some cultures, dragons aren't necessarily... Dragon mothers to us sounds like, oh, that's like a bad, an overbearing mom. But I don't know. Anyway, the product's plugged into every kiddie angle. Toys appeal to younger kids who then move on to the cards and graduate to the various levels of video games. The TV show propagandized each new creature with a tutorial called Who's the Pokemon? Do you remember that segment?
Who's that Pokemon? And then it would be like a silhouette as it went to the ad break, and you'd be like, oh, I don't know who this is. And I'll come back and say, it's Weeping Bell. And it would appear.
It is really, it's so, like, no wonder it became so big. Everything's feeding into...
And also, are you going to talk about the Poke Rap?
No. Do you want to quickly tell us
At
about
the
Poke
end
Rap?
of every episode of at least the first season of the TV show, they'd finish with the Pokey Rap.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could play it for you. It's so great.
Try and remember to post it on our socials.
Yes, we'll do. It's so good.
But it's this is something I had trouble with. So this episode's going to be long as it is, and there's a million Pokemon related
Yes,
things
been
that
going for-
I'm not going to talk about.
Yeah, well, 3 decades, 4 days, almost of history.
But
now.
that's just seems so smart. They're it's just a whole show that's advertising their other product.
All the stuff. It's
Yeah.
amazing. It's got a catchy theme song. I wanna be the very best.
Oh, that's
no
right.
one
That is
ever was. No,
It's inspiring for the
yeah,
kids.
yeah, it's great.
was that from the movie?
No, that's how they open the TV show.
Oh, right.
the
There
theme
you
song,
go.
yeah.
It's a great theme song. Something else that they said was good for that sort of propaganda style of show.
What's good for the goose is good for the propaganda.
Geese and bush.
That's right.
What's good for the geese and bush? But yeah, they also said another thing that worked really well was most of the Pokemon growl their names repeatedly. Squirtle, Squirtle, Squirtle. So the children learn who's who quickly.
Nice, yes.
This article that I'm reading from, you'll really realise was written in the late 90s with the next paragraph. This is the Chua Owen and Larimer one. The craze is also Gen Y web friendly.
Oh, hell yeah.
The most popular website for kids 12 years and younger is Pokemon.com. It's all Pokemon all the time, at least until the next craze.
Oh, yes.
So there's in the late 90s, they're like, it's big now, but...
Yeah. 5 years, no one will even remember it.
Yeah. In 1998, Pokemon landed on the big screen with a July 18 release in Japan. I think it was about a year later, the American and release and then elsewhere. The film had mixed reviews, to be polite. Rotten Tomatoes aggregator has critics score at 16% approval.
That's rough.
Out of
the full 100, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's
Oh,
not
yeah, and it
good.
wasn't 16 out of 17. So.
That would have been good. Well, there could have been 16 out of 150, which would be worse.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I saw it at the movies with my friends.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Sick.
I saw it as an adult. I didn't like it. I thought it was bad.
Well, as a kid, I got to tell you, Pokemon on the big screen, could life get any better?
Yeah.
Hey, mate, so you probably agree with the Rotten Tomatoes consensus, critics' consensus, which was audiences other than children will find very little to entertain them.
Correct, yes. Yeah.
Which is it's so funny. It's it's obviously a kid's movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the kids liked it or loved it, maybe. Dave?
I loved it.
The
The
audience...
kids have spoken.
Yeah.
the audience number on Rotten Tomatoes reflects that 74% approval
Out of
the full 100.
okay,
again.
Yeah.
not 75.
Oh, sorry,
Okay.
no, yeah, right. Out of 75, yeah, it was quite a high one. It was a big hit, turning a $5 million budget into more than $170 million at the worldwide box office.
That's quite good.
And also very bold because they did call it the first movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It was such a long, convoluted name. Was that how it was originally put out? It's called Pokemon.
Is it something to do with Mewtwo?
Yeah, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Oh.
It's wait, in
Whoa.
the first movie?
Where's Mewtwo come from?
Yeah. In the US alone, it sold 10 million home video copies as well. So, big hit. When it came out, kids wagged school to see it, catching what some dubbed the Pokemon flu. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, teach.
I got to wag school.
Got to wag school today. Got the old Pokemon flu, if you know what I mean. I'm winking. This wasn't the only thing worrying parents about Pokemon, though. I'm going to talk about a few of the... I did say before I was going to get into some controversies. I'm now going to get into some controversy. I should say that I just added a big chunk of stuff in there.
that you've made up.
That I've
For
made
as
up.
a goof.
Bit of a goof. What's good for the goof?
That's right.
So the trading cards at schools were known to get a little bit out of hand as well and cause a bit of panic, a bit of... adults were like, children have been ruined by these cards.
Oh, they were banned at my primary school in Mendy because older kids would rip off younger kids.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is an article from the BBC from the year 2000.
Yeah, this is when it's taken off in my primary school for sure.
There have been stories of bullying, intimidation, and aggressive trading among children desperate to complete their collections of 150 cards. In the US, police denounced the cards as America's most dangerous hobby after a surge in child crime. In America, that was at the time in the year 2000, you couldn't do anything more dangerous in America.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That was the most dangerous thing, hobby.
Yeah.
You could do professional, more dangerous things.
Yeah.
But hobby-wise...
Could I swap this Blastoise for a Pikachu? You're under arrest!
That's it.
This is a sting.
But apparently there was a surge in child crime. 6 children were arrested in Philadelphia for a Pokemon-related assault.
Whoa.
Liz Paver, head of...
They beat up someone wearing a Pikachu costume?
Yeah.
What happened?
I could not find any more information about it. So this article goes back to 2000 and some of the hyperlinks are dead. But also, I Googled Pokemon crime Philadelphia 2000 and stuff and couldn't come up with anything. But maybe some of our listeners are better Googlers than me. Liz Paver, head of Intake Primary School in Doncaster, is among a growing number of head teachers to ban Pokemon cards. She said, they're quite expensive and...
Someone a bloody Povo would say. Too expensive. That's why you're jealous.
They're quite expensive items. And a week or two ago, I stopped a boy who had £30 worth in his pocket. We are not an affluent area, and that's an enormous amount of money. I don't think manufacturers take into consideration the conflict these things bring about. I don't think the manufacturers give a shit. I'm so sorry. You're a teacher, and I think you're probably doing it for the right reasons. I'm afraid the big corporations might not have your children's best interests at heart.
She calls up the trading card company and goes, oh my God, do you know the kids are desperate to have these? And that they're spending a lot of money on them. So you should probably consider stopping making them. Because they'll do anything like spend money on them.
Look, we can't do that, but I guess we could give them away for free.
There we go. Would that help?
We just never thought about that. I guess we could just give everybody 150 cards for free.
Well, I stopped a kid in the hallway and he had £30 worth of Pokemon. There's no chance he could have afforded those. That's a bit rude to that kid.
Well, I don't know if that's what she's saying or I don't know. But it's also like, yeah, maybe they have an epiphany. They're like, you know what? Some of these cards we probably haven't put out enough, and it has led to scarcity, which has probably led to price gouging. So we're going to fix that up. We're going to release a lot of every card now. She says, when kids are swapping the cards, they can say they didn't mean it and they want them back. I feel like that's a good life lesson, maybe, some of this stuff.
I know, but you would do this is that you'd trade and you'd say no swap backs.
Oh, no, yeah, that'd do, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
And then you'd have
that's legal.
A prep kid who was 6 and a grade 6 who's 12. And they'd be like, oh, this is a really good one. Do you want to swap this? And it's actually a piece of shit for your Charizard, really rare one. That's not any good. And then the kid would get ripped off. Go home, tell their parents, and the parents would be like, you gave away a Charizard!
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
straight to the principal's office, and then the big kid would be like, we said no swap backs.
That is
legally binding. So,
but that is interesting.
So it's not nice for the younger kids. Yeah,
I wonder how often there would have been trends that would have gone from prep to grade 6.
But everyone wanted them. Yeah. Tarzos
are big. That went all the way in high school. I remember Tarzos still been around.
Volumes of Encyclopedia Britannica.
Oh my god,
big trade in those.
Look, will you trade your X for my A?
I don't know. X has got a lot of cool stuff in it. X has got X-ray and stuff. I don't know.
X is really common.
I guess.
A is really rare.
Right. I've got 7 A's, and they're all rare. I think they might be the only 7. Teachers are having to spend time sorting out situations to the detriment of their relationship with the children. Peer pressure is the most dangerous thing. I mean, I thought it was just the game, but now the most dangerous thing is peer pressure. And there's a great temptation to take money to buy them if they don't have it. It seems an innocent thing in conception, but it has a knock-on effect. It puts enormous pressure on parents who want their children to have everything. Look, I'm not saying I don't agree that she's probably right, that it is bad. But also, like, what are you going to do?
It's been 20 years. Get over it, lady.
These things happen.
You know, get over it. Get over it, lady, in this article from 20 years ago.
I called her up and she says, stand by every word.
Wow. Well, all right, we're going to
She
respect
said,
that.
if not as much, even more.
Yeah.
I double down.
Yeah.
No takebacks. That's what she said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that Chua Ewan and Larimer article talks about a few adults who are also having a bit of a panic about the problems they caused by Pokemon writing. Some behavior has been delinquent. A 6-year-old logged on a Pokemon website and printed counterfeit copies of the cards to trade with gullible schoolmates.
A 6-year-old?
Yeah.
Well, honestly,
skip a grade.
We really got to reward that sort of entrepreneurship. That's amazing.
Other behavior can be criminal. I think that first one was criminal, but other behavior can be criminal. Last week, a 9-year-old boy on New York's Long Island stabbed an older schoolmate in a dispute over cards. A principal explained why her school, like many others, was banning Pokemon cards. Children who don't have Pokemon cards feel left out. When children bring the Pokemon cards into the lunchroom, they often spend time looking at the cards instead of eating lunch. Can't have that.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
You can't eat a card.
Yeah.
Found that out the hard
Sometimes they were getting confused. They were eating their cards and reading their lunch. It was
They were
battle their lunch.
They were trading handfuls of mashed potato to each other. You know?
a group of
Do you want
parents.
my potato chew?
A group of parents in New Jersey has sued the trading card manufacturer for intentionally making some cards scarce to force children into buying more and more packs of Pokemon cards.
I guess, like you were saying before. Yeah, they did that on purpose.
Racketeering, they said. They literally took it to court. I do not think they won. Anyway, let's keep the controversies rolling. How about a bit of satanic panic?
Yes, please.
Dave, you or Jess did a full episode while I was away during Block
I did
last
during
year.
Block last year. I did a Satanic Panic episode.
Did Pokemon come up?
Maybe like a one-sentence little mention, but nothing.
It was D&D was a big one, and heavy metal music and stuff. Well, yeah, Pokemon got involved. According to Kieran Fisher, writing for Film School Rejects, it shouldn't come as a surprise to know that some people believe that Pokemon was devised as a sneaky scheme to encourage children to practice Satanism and sorcery.
That makes sense. Abracadabra, Alakazam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Apparently, in the 80s, Dungeons & Dragons was condemned by Christian opposition for promoting witchcraft and demonology. Fisher continues, in a 2001 article by Christian outlet Worthy News, the author...
It's really worthy.
The worthiest news in your inbox.
Pretty neat news.
And it linked to some actual church sermons where the preacher's talking about it's evil, and everyone's like, yeah, it's evil.
Yeah, it's evil, I guess.
But in the Worthy News article, it was written that Pokemon, quote, opens up players to the demonic realm.
Wow. It's a powerful game.
It's probably what's in the Pokeballs. It's a portal to hell. That's why there's so much room in there. It's full of sinners.
The author highlights, it did feel like Sinners was the first in a list, but it wasn't. It's full of sinners and
that's it.
And
that's all I'm interested in.
That was all that was in there. Crammed in, though. Not a lot of room in there. And sinners can be big.
Oh, yeah, huge.
Yeah, that's right.
The author highlights how it's a dangerous game that can be manipulated by Lucifer and his agents to lead players down a dark path. Furthermore, the article is critical of the game's evolutionary, pagan, Shinto, and Tibetan influences, since none of these belief systems align with Christian dogma. Damn, the
Plus, I never got a Charizard, and I'm really jealous.
Yeah, I think it sounds like that priest has been ripped off by a big grade 6.
That's right.
and they said no swap backs. Well, fine.
Right.
They're banned then. Ban them all.
Because they're evil.
They're evil.
Fisher then asks and answers the question, but how exactly does Pokemon turn players into witches and warlocks?
Great question.
It's great. We want to know.
Well, the general consensus is that the games make them want to dig deeper into the occult. As noted by Did You Know Gaming, some creatures in Pokemon lore have supernatural and paranormal abilities, and some religious naysayers have compared them to the demons in Lesser Key of Solomon. The ancient text, which was popularized by the occultist Aleister Crowley, gives instructions on how to summon evil entities from other dimensions. Naturally, it's only a matter of time before role-playing games about Pikachus and Bulbasaurs inspires children to seek out real demons.
Beelzebub, I choose you. Wow.
Yeah, it ruined my life. I became a full occultist. And, that was a long way out, all because I was a big fan of the Pokemon Hypno.
So it was like And it started getting around a bit that it was actually like just secretly an evil thing. And then an interview with creator Satoshi Tajiri went viral.
You went, no, it isn't. Don't worry about it.
And this is what it said. In a rare interview with Pokemon creator Satoshi Tajiri, he admits that the games were created as a backlash against his Christian parents. He also says that the games are tailored towards an anti-Christian sentiment or Satanism. The interview, conducted by Time about the continued success of the Pokemon series, took a sharp left turn when Tajiri was asked about the inspiration for the games. The following is an excerpt from the interview. Pokemon is essentially the correct answer towards life, not Christianity. Everything presented in the game is the opposite of what Christians may believe. Some have said the game promotes voodoo or magic, and I agree, in the sense that there are many things that occur in nature that are unexplainable. Furthermore, the violence in the games is unparalleled. It may not show up in the actual graphics, but the brutality is made especially explicit in the Pokédex entries. Time then asks, so those who say the game is anti-Christian are correct? Tajiri, I suppose so. I mean, some could say that the game supports Satanism. I don't officially celebrate it, but I can understand why people would be attracted to it.
Wow. Oh, Nintendo America, like, we do not know this man.
That's right.
He does not represent us.
Yeah.
Well, as it turned out,
we would never hire a game freak.
This was a nonsense. There's a Snopes article on it, and apparently it was published on a gaming site, Play for Real. But it went around the internet as if it was a real, because he did a Times interview, which I've quoted from a bit. And people fully believe.
Oh, no.
But it's like, it's laid on pretty thick. I'm like, when I was reading it at first, I'm like, is he being really funny here? Or is this bullshit? Unfortunately, I kind of wish it was him just taking the piss.
Yeah, I mean, we know from his history that it's just because he loved bugs.
Yeah.
He loved bug, and that's all there is to it.
I love the bug and the devil.
I've caught the bug for Beelzebub. Beelzebub, more
That's
like
right.
it. That would be one of his characters.
Yeah.
It really could be.
Another fake story that got shared around and probably still some people might believe to be true, because I think maybe one of the suggestors mentioned this, but it's the Lavender Town myth. As Fisher writes, according to the story, more than 200 Japanese children between the ages of 7 and 12 harmed themselves after hearing some creepy music hitting in the Game Boy game Pokemon Red and Green. According to Nadia Oxford writing for LifeWire, the urban legend states that the original Lavender Town theme contains a high-pitched tone that compels kids to lose their minds.
Whoa.
Since our ability to hear high-pitched tones diminishes as we age, young children are especially susceptible to the Lavender Town curse.
That is classic satanic panic there. That's classic run the record backwards.
Yeah.
You know.
And apparently, do you recognise that Lavender Town at all?
I know it's a town in the game.
Because apparently
I'm sure I recognise I remember all the themes, what they sound like, but I can't remember which is which.
I think it was toned down a bit in the Western release of it.
Toned it
Did
down.
it ever make you want to kill your parents? Or?
Well, yes, of course.
Yeah.
that was more Pewter City for me.
Right, okay, yeah.
And wasn't that more just opening up feelings you already had?
Yeah.
I didn't want broccoli, Mum.
The only time I felt Murdos is when they said, you can't play any more Pokemon, you have to go to bed.
Wow.
But I don't think that had anything to do with Pokemon.
No, you were just a bad kid. So there's a heaps more of these, but yeah, and you know, you can pick out crazy Christian beliefs and stuff when the majority of them are like, this is a game, you know. And including one of the guys who suggested it said, I grew up in a Christian family. We never panicked about anything.
We love Pokemon.
Yeah. And yeah, in the end, Fisher writes that the Vatican gave the franchise its full blessing after investigating the games in 2000. They decided they did not contain any harmful moral side effects. So I got the Pope's thumbs up.
Do you reckon the Pope played through the whole thing?
Yeah, I think the Pope.
Give the full Pokemon.
Yeah.
The full
Pokemon.
The full seal of approval.
Oh, Dave, one of the months in our Pope calendar, where's Pope? He has to be a Pokemon level.
So good.
With lots of different
So
Pope monsters.
We've talked about creating a calendar called Where's Popey?
Absolutely, yeah.
You have to find the Pope, often in Arctic or very white.
Very
that'll do
white
it, won't it?
backgrounds.
Yeah.
It can be difficult to spot the Pope.
That's very true, isn't it?
Because as far as we know, the Pope's never been to Antarctica.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah,
As far as we know.
You could convert some people in Antarctica.
we want our plan, I think, if it wasn't, it is now, to get Dave the papacy and then get him to the pole. Pope at the pole.
Yep.
And what name? Can you take a cool Pope name?
You're going to take a cool name.
Probably Pius. Emphasis on, but
Pope Pius at the pole.
But it'd be PIE.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What's the best? There's one that's really great.
I like Pope Urban.
Oh.
Urban's good.
Is it Urban one?
There's a Pope Urban, yeah.
Keith?
Yes. Yes.
Pope Keith would be pretty good.
I agree.
Pope Gary also would be hard to go past for me. But there's one that's so fun. I can't remember what it is. But it's like Pope Frisky or something.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
There's so...
Do you know Dave's favourite Wikipedia or second favourite Wikipedia website?
Oh, I bet he's told me, but
It's a list of sexually active popes.
There we go. That's right.
There's some... Oh, my God. There's so many great ones. St. Felix I.
Oh, Felix is fun.
St. Mark. That's not as great, is it? Okay.
No, it's a dud.
Okay. There's so many of these. Pelagius II.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Pope Pelagius at the pole.
And I also like Boniface. Spelt Boniface.
All right, so yeah, that's the moral panic, satanic panic one. There's others like Peter didn't like the fact that it was like they were, it was basically like the gaming version of cockfighting.
Absolutely, yeah.
Other controversies include negative racial depictions of some of the monsters, like Dave was talking about Jinx before. This is from Bulbapedia, has a full, like it's got a whole page about controversies and it's got a lot in there. There's one where there was one Pokemon that looked like it was doing like a Nazi salute.
Oh, gosh, I don't remember that one.
Well, they changed it, I think.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But, there's a few weird ones. But this is from Bulbapedia. Following the American airing of Holiday Hijinks in 1999, Carol Boston Weatherford, an African-American cultural critic, claimed that Jinx was a negative racial stereotype of African Americans due to the Pokemon's black skin and oversized facial features, which were typical in minstrel shows. Jinx's design was later officially revised by Game Freak to be purple rather than black. I don't even know if you'd recognize the original Jinx, Dave. Do you think of Jinx as being purple?
Purple in my mind, yeah.
Yeah.
And Jinx is often trying to hit on people too. One of her moves is called Lovely Kiss. I think it might make you pass out.
Okay. Is that a racial stereotype?
Oh no, sorry, that's nothing to do with the stereotype. I'm just reminiscing about what I remember of her as. Oh yeah, Matt showing us the
purple's
the
a better choice
side.
there, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember her as purple. So I guess by the time it got to the Australian TV screen, I was aware of it. She was always purple.
And yeah, there's others along those lines as well. But yeah, there's an endless stream. If you want to really dive into the controversies, I'll try and put a link to the Bulbapedia article. I say I try because Acast has limited how many characters we can use in the show description.
Yeah, that's
just
right.
you guys personally.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It has blown out a bit. We probably could take out some of the links.
We were taking the piss.
But yeah, I'm not going to go through them all, and I'm getting close to finishing up. But I'll just try and briefly go through some of the variations because I know there's a million different ones, and they're in all sorts of media. And I'm very sorry if I missed out on yours. Your favourite, Meso.
All right.
Meso, do you have a favourite Pokemon?
I'll be honest, I couldn't tell you. I mean, they took out the one that was doing the Nazi salutes.
Hitlermon.
Yeah, they've ruined my interest.
Did you ever take in any of them? You watched the movie? Have you watched much of the show? Or
no, none of that.
Never played the games?
No,
or
no.
Collected the cards?
No.
Oh, the cards, yes. I've got all the cards.
Yeah, I got them off a bunch.
Got to catch them all.
Got them off a bunch of year sixes.
Yeah.
Made some very bad deals, but there's some good deals, No, it was not my cup of tea. But I'm glad other people enjoyed it.
I loved it. Still got the cards at home.
All right.
Oh.
And then so I'm collecting them around the year 2000 to about 2002. Then my cousins come along and they're about 11 and 13 years younger than me, and then they get into Pokemon. And their mum says, "Oh, Dave used to have Pokemon cards." I said, "Yeah, I've still got them. Do you want to go look at them?" They were so excited. They're like, "Oh my gosh, awesome!" And then they looked at them and they said, "Ugh, these are the old-fashioned ones.
That's such a funny, like the people who get deep into that sort of stuff, that should be exciting.
But they're like,
yuck.
Magneton. I never even fucking heard of that one.
Oh, a 1967 Mustang.
So I thought, and then that was over 10 years ago. So it's like, and now there'd be a whole other generation now that would look at their Pokemon cards and probably say the same thing.
Oh, I did watch Detective Pikachu.
Oh,
that's a fun movie.
Oh,
I've seen
that's fun.
That's all I have for you.
Yeah,
Pretty
I fell
fun.
asleep watching it, but I should give it another go. I mean, just when I put a movie on and I'm on the couch, it's pretty good time.
You're playing with fire.
Yeah, come on. You know what you did, me. So there's been many new generations of the video game since the originals, including, and they're always come out in pairs in the same way. Gold and silver, ruby and sapphire, diamond and pearl, black and white, X and Y, sun and moon, sword and shield, and scarlet and violet.
And Geese and Bush, right?
And Geese and Bush. With each new generation, more Pokemon were introduced, and I believe there are now over 1,000 different Pokemon species.
That's wild.
I think that's too many.
Yeah. They should start killing some off.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Like in Transformers, the movie, where they killed off the previous generation. Yeah. Just clean house,
What did you think about the voting, Transformers getting done? So, which would you have picked? I should have just messaged you, said, which of these three topics would you want me to do?
Okay. No, this has been fascinating. Plus, I probably know a lot of wrong facts about Transformers, so you'd be like, the Transformers were great. I'd be like, wrong. I know better than this article you've read. I know better than Wikipedia.
Well, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
I haven't referenced Wikipedia once. That is a nasty stereotype about this show, that we're just reading Wikipedia articles.
Come on, mate.
I'm reading Time.
We're reading Time and Bulbapedia.
In fact, you get most of your research on all the episodes from Bulbapedia, right? Sometimes you're doing an episode on
onions.
And you're like, Bulbapedia doesn't have much. I guess there's no history to onions, really.
Why is So that's just taken off the fact that one of them has a bulb on its tail, and now Bulbapedia has become a thing?
I thought before, I was like, why do they call it Bulb? So it's named after Bulbasaur, which is Pokemon number 1.
Oh, okay.
So I imagine that's probably
sense.
why.
It's like Wikipedia.
Yes.
Star Wars.
And Chewie is Star Wars number 1.
Exactly, that's right. He is Star Wars number 1.
Of the card games, their popularity led to Pokemon card tournaments and even a World Championship tournament. I read that.
I am a Pokemon World Champion.
Oh,
I forgot to mention that. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of interest. I'm the Andre Agassi of Pokemon card. I don't like it, but I am the best in the world.
Let me give you a probably wrong fact, because I read it and I didn't write it down. But I think it said that in America, the Magic the Gathering company took on the cards, and they sold in a short amount of time, maybe a year. The first year, they sold more than the last 10 years of Magic the Gathering cards or something. But that's with the little asterisks there.
Sure.
That's my memory of a thing that I read. But I write reports much like our man does, 24 hours straight, 12 hours straight.
That's
right. So big tournaments, of course, Meso is the winner of one. According to the BBC, since then, more than 30 billion cards have been printed. And some people will even pay hundreds of thousands of pounds for some of the more rare cards. This article's from a couple of years ago as well, so it's probably like 31 billion by now.
Right.
32 billion. Which I think more than 30 billion still covers, actually. The most expensive single Pokemon card to sell at auction, according to BBC, was a first edition holographic shadowless Charizard card, which sold for a whopping $369,000, or around £262,000 in the year 2000. But that info seems to be slightly out of date, as according to TCG Player, a truly one-of-a-kind card, the Population 1 PSA 10 Illustrator Pikachu, was bought by YouTube influencer, I mean, even that's out of date, isn't he? A boxer now? Logan Paul, in 2022, at a valuation of $5.275 million, making it the most expensive Pokemon card ever sold. More specifically, he paid $4 million in cash, plus a PSA 9 Illustrator Pikachu he previously owned.
Oh. It's a cash and trade deal.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, there might be a difference. One of those
Did
was
he trade
at
it with
auction.
a grade 6?
Yes, it was with the grade. He printed it off himself. Yeah, that's right. Well, the grade 6 printed it off himself. Yeah, pretty brutal. But Logan Paul also printed off the money himself.
There you go.
know.
So, yeah.
Of the anime, there have been some 26 series and counting, and something like 1,300 episodes and counting. To go along with this, there have been 25 feature films, including a live-action Detective Pikachu starring Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool himself.
That's correct.
It says 24 feature films, but one of them, it came out in 2 films.
Oh.
To me, that's 2 different films.
Oh.
And the counts, they all count as 1. So they say there's 24 feature films.
Part 1, part 2 type thing.
Yeah, that's 2 films. Guys?
Yeah, that's 2.
Guys?
Yeah. I have no opinion either way, but yes.
I'm going to court.
Okay.
And all that, all of that's been great, of course. But the last iteration that I think really broke through, went into the zeitgeist, was Pokemon Go. So I thought I'd finish by talking a little about Pokemon Go before we Pokemon Go. Oh, my God.
That's good.
And what better way to tell you about it than to quote a Vox.com article from the year 2016 that is trying to explain it to people who were confused.
It's pretty neat, I guess.
You may have heard stories of people hunting down Pokemon on their office desks, in hospital rooms, and even in bathrooms. One teenage girl even found a dead body while looking for Pokemon.
Pretty neat, I guess.
And police in Missouri claimed that 4 suspected robbers lured in victims with a chance of catching Pokemon in a new game called Pokemon Go. What the hell's going on? What is Pokemon Go? Well, after a few years lying relatively low, the Nintendo-owned Pokemon, which exploded in popularity in the late 90s, is again taking the world by storm, this time through Pokemon Go, the series' biggest entry into the mobile space, now available for free download on Android and iOS. It's so popular that it's now competing with Twitter in terms of daily active users on Android. That dates it a little, I'm guessing. Twitter's still doing pretty good, is it? In simple terms, Pokemon Go is a game that uses your phone's GPS and clock to detect where and when you are in the game and make Pokemon appear around you on your phone screen so you can go and catch them. As you move around, different and more types of Pokemon will appear depending on where you are and what time it is. The idea is to encourage you to travel around the real world to catch Pokemon in the game. The mix of the game and the real world interacting is known as augmented reality. So why are people seeking out virtual creatures while at work and as they go to the bathroom? Part of the reason Pokemon Go is popular is that it's free.
It's free and it's something to do. Everyone said it's free and it's something to do. Yeah.
Just, we got to take up our time with something.
Yeah, everybody shrugged their shoulders and went, oh, I don't know. I'm a Pokemon. Who's a Pokemon I walk around?
It says, but most importantly, Pokemon Go fulfills a fantasy Pokemon fans have had since the games first came out. What if Pokemon were real and inhabited our world?
Ooh.
Did either of you ever? I never played it.
Also never played it, no. Dave?
No, I didn't play Pokemon Go. I had a job by then, so...
Wow.
Didn't you hear? It could have led you to dead bodies or playing in your office.
You could have gone to the toilet.
It actually helped my job because that was the year I started working on the project looking for funny news stories and clips and things. And it was for a few weeks there when it was like Pokemon Go madness. The news channel would send out like reporters out to parks and things, and it'd be like midnight, and there'd be like 400 adults in a park trying to, and then the big great Vox Pops which we could play.
Yeah,
Be like, check out these.
And there'd be a lot of reports of people falling down open manholes.
So it became like a bit of a cultural touchstone and a bit of a joke as well.
Yeah, but that was because that's how it got so big that the three of us never played it, but we're semi-familiar with it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Which says a lot, being semi-familiar with something.
That's so true.
That's the zeitgeist. And it was a huge hit, according to BBC. Pokemon Go smashed download records on its release and has since been downloaded more than 1 billion times.
That's wild.
Yeah. So that's the end of my report. I think we mentioned...
Yes.
I think we mentioned Pokemon Go on the Trump episode. The Trump family. You know that mystery?
Were they playing?
I think people... One of the eyewitnesses who saw one of the Trumps just like run off into a park. They were only out at night because they were playing Pokemon Go.
Ah, gotcha.
So that's,
It's a bad time for mysteriously disappearing because a bunch of people would have seen you.
Exactly.
You would have been like,
That's
nuts. I was
right.
gonna fake my family's death and move to
not
another
during
country.
that 3-month period
That's
where everyone
right.
went
Yeah.
wild for it.
I think Tajiri would be pretty happy with it. I don't know how I'm guessing it was his idea or whatever, but he wanted to get people out and about and doing
Yeah,
stuff
that's
as
cool.
well. So
That's absolutely. Do we know if he's still alive?
yeah, he's still kicking.
That's great.
Um,
It's obviously bigger than anyone ever predicted. Like, it's unbelievable that it's still going. And like, if you go to shops now, go to the newsagents, I still see I don't recognize the Pokemon anymore, but there's still Pokemon cards.
Wow.
So they're still very popular.
Isn't that just life,
Yes.
How life evolves. I don't recognize those Pokemon anymore.
But I'm happy that people are playing because I love it. I still got a big nostalgia for it. And the only video games that I really play are usually re-releases of old games.
Yeah, right.
And then a couple of years ago on the Switch, they brought out Pokemon Pikachu and Eevee, which was like an updated remake of Red and Blue,
Okay, right.
but just with like bigger and better graphics,
Oh, hell
nicer
yeah.
colors. And that was a great time for me.
I think it looks like he was pretty hands-on until it really blew up, and then every game since 2005 until the last games that have come out, he's got an executive producer credit.
Great.
I think he's more of like a
Money for nothing, baby.
overseer
Yeah.
/
Gives him more time to go outside and flip over a rock.
That's right.
You idiots, get out of my way. Stop playing Pokemon Go. I've got to look under this rock.
Also, Detective Pikachu, executive producer.
And do you think they just bring the new Pokemon in and say, what do you think of this? Like, $9.94. I hadn't heard of this one before. Iron Moth.
Sure.
Do they just go, what do you think of that? And he goes, pretty good.
Iron Moth. Yeah, they're not even mushing words together anymore.
Iron
They're
Moth.
two separate words.
Yeah. And there's one
Should
called...
have been Aeromoth.
Sure.
Mush 'em.
There's one called Hydrapple, which looks like an apple, and there's a snake that's poking out from the apple.
Oh, hell yeah.
I love it. It's fun.
Bit of fun. And was there like Super Smash Brothers? Does that have like Yoshi? Like Yoshi's crossed over into other games and stuff? Maybe.
You mean Pikachu?
Pikachu?
Yeah,
Pikachu, I think, is in Smash Brothers.
You can play Pikachu, and then there's also like Pokemon levels that you can play on Smash Brothers, where you get like Pokeballs and you throw them out, and then like on your side, like an Electabuzz will come out and start zapping the opponents.
Was the movie? The movie was a bit of a success, was it?
The
I'm
movie.
just looking at budget
you said
150 million.
Yeah, it was huge.
Box office 450. Oh, sorry, I mean Pikachu Detective.
Sorry, I thought you meant the original one you're talking about.
Because it's interesting there hasn't been another one 5 years later, but maybe maybe that'll be coming.
Well, that's a huge budget. I wouldn't have thought the budget was that big on Detective Pikachu.
I guess Ryan Reynolds probably got
Yeah, he's
of
not
that.
doing it for free.
Yeah. But I enjoyed it. Watched it on a plane. Bit of fun.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch it. I'm gonna go watch it right now. Goodbye. Thanks so much for joining us. Do you want to head off?
Oh, I probably should. Yeah,
That is that's lengthy.
That's
Thanks.
very lengthy.
That's a stint.
Been a nice time.
So we'll say goodbye to you, Meso. Thank you so much for joining us. What a pleasure it's been.
What a pleasure it's been. But back at you, accusatorily. How dare you give me such a nice time, both of you guys?
Mesa, will you come back one day so I can tell you things about X-Men that you probably already know?
Or the Transformers. Or maybe I'll come back and talk about the Transformers.
Ooh.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, I was thinking, because sometimes when I'll say, oh, Meso's coming on in this thing, people are like, I'd prefer to say, they'll comment below, I'd prefer to say that I'm from Meso Report. I'm like, you got a report and Meso on the episode. This is as close as you're getting to it. You haven't done a report you haven't done one for years, have you?
Meso can't read or write. It's very difficult.
Yeah, but that's why you just go straight from the top of your dome.
That's true.
You bring it
That
in,
is
you riff it all.
All right. Well,
But are you saying it's possible you get back on the tools?
maybe I'll get back on the tools.
Oh, I'd love to hear a Transformer report from
Will
your
I get
mouth.
back on the tools? Maybe.
Do you think you could do a home improvement report?
Probably. Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
We did a nanny one.
It's
I
true.
think it's in the same
We do a
ballpark.
Tim Allen police report.
Oh,
Certainly
yeah,
do
that would have to be mentioned. What a great mugshot that is. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. People can find you, of course, online.
That's right. You can go to The Weekly Planet. That's a podcast I do with a friend of ours, James, and we talk about movies and TV shows. And there's a Pokemon Detective Pikachu episode.
Oh,
or you can go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Mr. Sunday Movies. We got some Pokemon content on there. We savaged the Pokemon movie, the first one.
Oh,
as adults.
You watched it.
Oh yeah, I had to watch it. Yeah, I didn't like it. It's bad.
What about the other 24 though?
We should get to the other 24.
That's a real caravan of garbage sort of thing.
That's a real.
They probably get better, surely.
Surely. Yeah. Well, I'll commit to the other 24 and then we'll see.
Yeah.
You know?
Thanks so much for joining us, mate. So hopefully we'll see you again soon.
You will. But not if I see you first.
Oh my God.
That's right.
All right. We've just spent some time saying goodbye to the great man, Nick Mason.
We just shook hands in a 3-way handshake for 15 minutes.
It was nice.
It was so nice. A lot of eye contact as well.
Really nice, yeah. Gosh. Which is hard to do in a 3-way.
Yeah. But a bit for you.
Bit for
you. Back to you.
It's like when you're performing in the round. You know, you gotta. It's not just the audience right in front of you; they're all around you. You gotta
give a bit of FaceTime here, FaceTime there.
Yeah.
We were doing that. We were shaking hands in the round.
Yeah, without an audience, but we didn't need one. We weren't doing it for the. We weren't doing it for that.
No, we weren't doing it for them. We were doing it for us.
So, Dave, am I right in saying this is now everyone's favourite section of the show?
It absolutely is the time where we get to thank a few of our lovely Patreon supporters and remind everyone they can support us at patreon.com/dogoonpod. And Matt, if I was to go there and sign up, what kind of rewards am I looking at?
Oh my God, Dave. So many. 4 bonus episodes each month, every Sunday, basically, apart from the months with 5 Sundays.
But they're few and far between.
Yeah, you get a bonus episode, bonus report, a bonus quiz or something fun like that, a movie club episode, and now our D&D campaign.
That's right, a new installment into our ever-growing Dungeons & Dragons Do Go On universe.
Yeah, people are like, oh, what's your character's name again, Dave?
Terry Sharpener.
What's Terry Sharpener up to this month? What's he up to? So yeah, people have been giving us very nice feedback about the very early episode of that.
Yeah, thank you for that.
But what am I talking about? That's one thing. You also get access to the Facebook group, which has had a bunch of new members recently. And people come in and they go, "It's everything we heard it would be."
It's a lovely place, lovely community.
And yes, you also get first dibs on tickets. You'll be the first to find out about live shows. You get discounts to most shows' tickets. You get to vote. Like today's topic was voted on by the vast majority of the Patreons.
Yeah, that's right.
And it came down to literally one vote.
So your vote, if you join on there, can actually change the show, which is amazing.
Like literally, I mean, not everyone votes who can, but over 700 people voted. And it came down to one vote,
That's so amazing.
Yeah, quite interesting. But one of the other things you get to do, if you're on the Sydney Scheinberg level or above, you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question, or a brag, or a suggestion. And then I read them out. In this section of the show, we like to call fact, quote, or question, which has the jingle go something like this.
Fact, quote, or question.
Ding. We remembered the ding.
Oh, and I remembered the
and
sing.
And you remembered the sing. And the way this works is if you're on the Sydney Scheinberg level or above, you get to give us a fact, a quote, a question, or a brag, or a suggestion, or really whatever you like. And you also get to give yourself a title. I read them out, and I read 4 out most weeks, up to 4. And this week, that is exactly the number I'm reading out. The first one comes from Nate Ramirez, who's got the title of Greg. This is Nate's first fact, quote, or question.
Welcome, Nate.
And Nate is offering a suggestion, writing, "Hell, Matt." It's probably hello. "Hello, Matt, Jess, and Dave."
Hell.
I have 2 suggestions for you today. The first is for your uncle's Italian restaurant in Long Beach. Let me read that again. The first is for my uncle's Italian restaurant.
I was say, what are you talking about?
I was like, really? That's very funny.
Mystery uncle?
No, this is, of course, not mine, but Nate's uncle. Says, it's in Long Beach, California, called La Parolaccia. I would provide you with phonetic spelling, but you're practically 100% Italian.
Exactly.
And will nail the pronunciation. I'm pretty sure I did there. When you had previously announced venues for your North American tour, The show you had planned in Long Beach would have been about 5 to 7 minutes walk from this place. If you three ever make it out there, or any listeners, then you should definitely go check it out. Great tip. I love, Dave, we love going to an Italian restaurant.
We love that.
When on tour or not.
Exactly. We share a little pasta.
Oh, man. I love those big, like, you go to an Italian restaurant, they have those big, tortellini or whatever. So good.
Yeah, large ravioli type things. And you're like, oh, there's only 4 on the plate. And you go, that'll actually fill you right up.
That'll do just nicely.
Oh, my goodness.
A bottle of vino
please.
to share.
And do you have any ice cream for dessert?
And maybe a gelato. My second suggestion is from my cousin's band, Cyborg Octopus. He's the vocalist. That is a sick name. They're a metal band, and while that's normally not my type of music, a lot of their songs have made it into my rotation. Please give them a lesson and a listen is what I think it was actually written.
Yeah, a lesson I'll never forget.
Sorry for the long one, and thanks for all the laughs. Really looking forward to the D&D bonus episodes. Well, at this time, you will have heard at least the first one. I hope you enjoyed it very much. What a brilliant entry.
That's a fantastic debut from Greg
Nate Ramirez. He landed on his feet there, didn't he?
Great stuff.
Next one comes from Rachel Johnson. Actually, one of the suggestors of today's topic.
Rachel Johnson, okay. Sometimes ham sandwich.
Yes, it is ham sandwich.
It's so funny. Funniest nickname we've had yet.
And can you remind me why?
I don't know if there's any reason for it, but once you read it out, and it just really got me.
That's so funny. Man, my head is a sieve with some things.
Ham sandwich. It's so funny.
Rachel is... Oh, this is maybe the second entry in this. Favorite words. Didn't we have a favorite? Oh,
yes, we've had favorite words and least favorite words.
All right, Rachel writes... Hello, Matt, Jess, and Dave. Since it was discussed on a previous Fact Quote question a while ago, I started making a list of my favourite words. Here are my top words so far. Plonk.
Oh, that's a fantastic entry.
Well, this one I don't know. Concatenate. Concatenate? Oh, I don't know that. Do you know that word, Dave?
I need to see it written down, I think.
Concatenate. In formal language theory and computer programming, string concatenation is the operation of joining character strings end to end. For example, the concatenation of snow and ball is snowball. And that's very Pokémon handy.
Yes, it is very, very good, isn't it?
Yeah, okay. Fun. It's a fun word.
Concatenate.
Whatnot and higgledy-piggledy. Higgledy-piggledy is very good.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I agree with higgledy-piggledy.
Look, I agree with them all.
And plonk, because that was my favourite word, plop.
Oh, yeah, I like plonk a lot more than plop.
Oh, really? Okay.
Plonk it right down there.
Oh, plop it right down there.
Plop over in that seat, mate.
Yeah.
Plonk is also that's a word for, well, next time we go to the Italian restaurant, we'll get some ravioli and a bottle of plonk.
Oh, a bit of as they refer to it.
Yeah, I think that's the Italian. Il plonk. Il plonk.
Welcome back.
Thanks so much, Rachel. Love that. I'd love to hear more. What a great list. Plonk. Il plonk. Justin McCain is the next one. Mr. Justin McCain plays a silly game. And just Justin McCain has got the title of the OG and is using this for a shout out, writing... At time of writing, it's a week out from my son's first birthday, so I wanted to shout out his birthday and brag about how awesome he is. Happy first birthday, Freddie! Here's to another amazing year! Freddie! I was about to swear. We're not
No, we want Freddie to be able to hear this.
Come on, Freddie. Happy birthday. All right, let's do your first word, Freddie. You ready? First word.
Yes.
Your first word is plonk.
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 Plonk. Should you say words after one or before one?
I think it varies a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I think some under one, some quite a bit after one, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, either way, Junior McCain, you've got to play Baby McCain a bit of, what's his name? Peter Coombs. And his classic song, Mr. Clickety Cane. Play's a silly game. When all the kids in the street, they like to do the same.
Was it? It's called Wash Your Face with Orange Juice.
Okay, fantastic.
In brackets, Mr. Clickety Game.
And the last one this week comes from Adam Tripsinski, aka official mover, shaker, and producer. Ooh, Adam. Adam's got a fact for us, writing.
Love a fact.
Hey everyone, I decided to find another air hockey table for the Triptych Club so Matt can actually touch it. Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh,
but
great.
Jess is not around, so I'm doing whatever I like.
Yeah. She's not here. She's fine. But
Oh, yeah, she's
while
so
she's
fun.
away, Matt is absolutely doing whatever he wants to
But
that
this is
table.
so great. There's a second one. You know what? This new one, perfect for Jess, because I've already iced up the existing one. This table can be used by everyone as a part of the club. Yeah. Except Jess, I'll be working on getting a trampoline next. Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
Adam, you tell you what, producer by name, producer by nature.
If I could have a bit of a go on
Producer
the trampoline.
by title. Yeah, please.
I'd love to.
You can. I know it's Jess's, but she's not here, and I say, yeah, you can. She'll never hear this. I'm only afraid of her when she can hear me or see me.
Yeah, say whatever you want.
Yeah, Jess, sucked in. Hey, here's a fun fact. And I'm putting up my middle fingers.
That's good.
Thank you so much to Adam, Justin, Rachel, and Nate. I'm not really afraid of her. A bit of a joke there. Okay?
Yeah,
I don't want anyone thinking that Jess is someone who's very scary and haunts my dreams.
Why would you do that?
That would be ridiculous.
That would be silly.
Thank you to our great fact quotes and questioners. And like I say, if you want to get involved in that, go to the Sydney Scheinberg level, sign up there, patreon.com/2gonpod. The other thing, or one of the other things we like to do is a few shout-outs, Dave, to some of our other great supporters.
Absolutely.
Jess normally comes up with a game. Maybe you could do that today?
Well, what about just giving them each a Pokemon to represent them?
Oh, yes, Dave. I'll read out the names. You are probably in a better position to poke.
Yes, I think I'm going to keep it to the first 150 because I'm sort of more aware of them, if that's okay.
I think that'd be fantastic. Cop
Okay,
that,
great.
Mew.
Cop that Mew. So
Mew's the cutoff.
Okay, 151? No, Mewtwo, but no Mew. Okay.
Okay. Wait, Mewtwo is in the 150?
Mewtwo is 150.
Oh.
Mew is 151. And Mewtwo is a Pokemon that was created in a lab.
Oh.
Very powerful, and it escaped.
Oh.
I think that's what the movie's about, the first movie.
Oh, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Yeah, very powerful psychic Pokemon. Really gets in your head.
I did have a quick look through, and I mean, there's the classic ones, like Squirtle's such a great name. Jigglypuff, I like.
Oh, Jigglypuff's great. You know what Jigglypuff does? Has a microphone and sings songs, and it puts people to sleep.
Oh, okay.
And in the TV series,
That feels-
she comes on once an episode, sings, puts everyone to sleep, then gets really pissed off because she wants to be like a pop star. Everyone falls asleep, so she pulls out a permanent marker and draws funny things on their faces.
That's fun. Do Pokemon speak?
Nearly all of them cannot. They can only say their own name. In the TV show, there's an evil Pokemon called Meowth that can speak English.
Oh, it's got mouth in its name almost.
Yeah.
That makes
but
sense.
Jigglypuff just sings Jigglypuff, Jiggly. It just sings their name.
The other one that stood out to me, which I'd never heard of before, Slowbro. That feels like
Slowbro.
That feels like that could be my Pokemon. I choose you, Slowbro. But yeah, Jigglypuff, didn't know that held a microphone and put people to sleep. That feels like that's in my wheelhouse as well.
That's great.
All right, Dave, you ready?
I'm ready. I got the list here, and I'm going to go through and pick some.
We got 9 names here who are all about to get Pokemon.
Oh.
First up, I'd love to thank for all your support from Derby or Derby in Kansas in the United States. It's Emily Gillihan.
I'm going to give you the Pokemon Diglett.
Diglett. It's a digger?
It's a ground Pokemon, and it goes, it burrows underneath, lives in caves.
Oh, yeah. It's a hider.
Yeah, it's very cute too.
Emily Gillihan.
You're Diglett.
Emily Diglett Gillihan. Next up, I'd love to thank from Pleasanton in California in the United States. It's Abhishek Kasturi.
Abhishek Kasturi, I'm going to give you Electrode.
Ooh, it's like a toad?
No, it's an electric Pokemon. It looks like a Pokeball, basically. It's round and red and white. But
that's weird.
But it's quite big, and it looks like it's a red and white ball with like a little squiggly face on it, and it's electric.
So they started to get I mean, not even started. This is right at the beginning.
Yeah, this is 101.
They got their design. They started to look around the room and see things they'd already designed.
Yep.
That's really fun. That's a great one, though. Iconic.
Absolutely.
From Prospect in Kentucky in the United States, I'd love to thank Fran Mastropaulo.
Fran, I'm going to give you another one of my favorites, Tangler. Tangler, which looks a little bit like a blue spaghetti bolognese with feet and little eyes.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, and it's a grass
like
Pokemon, Tangler.
Do you want to have a go at Fran's name? I love the name, and I feel like I'm not hitting it quite right. Fran Mastropaulo.
Let me have a quick look. Sorry, I've got to bring up the right page for these names.
Fran Mastropaulo.
I think that I'd say that, Mastropaulo.
Thank you so much. And from Melbourne, right here in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, it's Miles Campbell. Thank you so much.
Miles Campbell, thank you so much. And to me, you will always be Tentacruel.
Oh, like
which is
Tentacle?
like it's a very big jellyfish.
Oh.
It's a water and poison Pokemon. Long little tentacles.
Mm-hmm.
And they call it Tentacruel.
Okay, it's not a nice one.
Well, it evolved from Tentacool.
Oh.
So it was cool. Now it's cruel.
Okay, so it's like kind of your Raphael type.
Yeah. Cruel but rude.
Cruel but rude. Thank you so much to Miles from Stanhope Gardens in New South Wales here in Australia. I'd love to thank Stefano.
Stefano, to me, you remind me of Ninetales, which is like a big foxy type Pokemon. It's a fire Pokemon with a very big tail.
Yeah, that sounds great.
In fact, there are 9 of them.
Okay, it does have 9 tails.
Yeah.
I'm like, one big tail?
It's a real
weird
big
name for it.
It's like a plume, but I'm sure you could count 9 individually if you wanted to.
And I do. From Birmingham in Great Britain, I'd love to thank Mark Gota.
Mark Gota, I'm going to give you Ekans, which is a snake Pokemon, and it's actually snake spelled backwards.
Oh, that's clever.
See what they did there?
That's clever.
That
poison. Guy really wanted dinner that night.
And I'm going to reserve the Pokemon.
Bush.
Ekans evolves into Arbok, which is cobra backwards, and that's mine.
Oh my god,
that's me.
Cobra and snakes. They're both like they're snakes.
Yeah. What are the chances?
Is that a coincidence?
Nah.
From London in Great Britain, thank you to Jamie Garner Buchanan.
Oh, Jamie Garner Buchanan. My goodness, what a lovely name. But I more know you as Drowsy, the psychic Pokemon.
That's another one that I feel an attachment to.
You feel an attachment? I thought maybe
Drowsy.
Yuri Geller might be having something to say as well about Drowsy, who evolves into Hypno, who holds like a thing on a string to hypnotize its opponents with.
Oh. And it does that to the other monsters, or will it do it to Ash?
Mostly to other Pokemon, yeah. Though in the show, actually, I think they can be attacked by Pokemon. So, yeah, it probably would hypnotize them.
That's a good one. Good get, Jamie Garner Buchanan. From Bury Street, Edmonds in Suffolk, Great Britain, I reckon, Kelsey Chodrick.
Chelsea Codrick, I'm going to give you one of my all-time favourites. And Matt, do you associate with this one too? Snorlax.
Snorlax. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm never awake when I'm snoring, but I have a funny feeling I might.
And in the game and in the TV show, sometimes you can't get somewhere because the Snorlax has fallen asleep, and they're so big. They're like very large animals, and they've fallen asleep. You can't wake them up unless you have a pokey flute, which is like a flute that you play to wake them up. But so it basically means you can't get to certain parts of the game until you complete like little missions.
Right.
And then you earn the pokey flute, and then you unlock the rest of the world. But I love a Snorlax.
Snorlax so good. That was Kelsey. I think you called her Chelsea, which I imagine does not at all annoy.
Oh, I apologize. I don't have your name in front of me because I've got the list of Pokemon.
Kelsey Chodrick.
Oh, I call them Chelsea Codrick.
Oh yeah, that's pretty good.
See what I'm doing there?
I think that's what mates do. They spoonerize each other.
Yes.
Don't we? Wavered Dornicky.
Yes.
That works. And finally from Westfield, Indiana in the United States. Can't be too far away from God's country, Gary, Indiana, which is right across from God's country, Ohio. Please and thank you to Dawson Stroud.
Dawson Stroud. I love that name.
Love the name Stroud. Byron Stroud was the bass player for Strapping Young Lad.
Ah, Stroud. It's a great name. And for Stroud, I'm going to give you very cute Pokemon, Cubone. Cubone. Which is a ground Pokemon. It has like its skull on the outside. It goes over the top of its head and it holds a bone.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm listening.
It's cool. Man, I love those first 150 Pokemon. They're the best.
So good. Thank you so much to Dawson, Kelsey, Jamie, Marks, Stefano, Miles, Fran,
Oh my god.
Abhishek, and Emily.
I just remembered about Cubone. What that skull is. Cubone wears the skull of its dead mother as a helmet.
Oh.
Full on, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Cubone will often weep at night in mourning of its mother.
And because it is like, they're not individuals. They are like a species and they're all exactly the same.
Yeah.
So that's just what when they have a kid,
I don't know, they just
give them
die.
their skull.
Yeah. On the night of a full moon, the cries are said to be especially terrible.
Okay.
Okay, Cubone.
Okay, Cubone. Thank you so much to these great supporters. And the last thing we need to do, Dave, is welcome in a single member to the Triptych Club.
How good's that?
It's actually also one of the people we just shouted out to because they DM'd me on Patreon and let me know that I'd obviously missed their shout out for quite some time because they're in the same week getting into both the shout outs and the Triptych Club.
Which is where it's a Hall of Fame / Clubhouse where we induct people that have been on the shout out level or above for 3 consecutive years. So we obviously missed them the first time around, but don't worry. We welcome you in, and it's a Clubhouse Theatre of the Mind. I book a band. Jess usually organises a snack.
Yeah, a drink. I'm going to do that this week. Pokeballs, which are not Pokeballs. Pokeballs are aren't they like salads or something? Sort of Pokeball?
Oh, Pokeball. Right, yep.
I think a Pokeball is like a salad, and maybe the cocktails are you name your Pokemon, who your favorite Pokemon is at the bar, and I'll make you an individualized cocktail for that Pokemon. Dave, give an example of a Pokemon. If you came up, who's your favorite Pokemon?
Oh, I'll just give you. What about Psyduck?
Psyduck. Okay, so Psyduck. I will have a cheat sheet next to me, so I know what that means. Psyduck's a duck. Okay, so looks like it's yellow, and what does it do? It's like
what about something like cider duck?
Cider duck, maybe. Yeah, so it's a water type. Okay, Psyduck water type. Okay, so what I do here is probably give you a glass of water on the side, and then.
God, he's good.
Because it's a water type.
Yeah.
And then next to that, be a glass of cider. So yeah, that's the kind of thing. I'd come up with stuff like that real quick.
That's awesome.
And in the cider, I also put in some vermouth. And creme de menthe.
Oh wow, what a combo.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I panicked on that one. You can say hold the menthe.
Hold the menthe.
Hold the menthe. Dave, you booked a band, is that true?
Yes, you're never going to believe it. I've actually booked Pokémon with a space in the middle there. The artist behind the Poké Rap that I mentioned before. They will be hitting the stage and doing all the Poké Raps.
Wait, are they an official band?
They were to do with the band, but they just released that song under the name Pokémon.
Fun. Pokemon Rap. I'm looking forward to hearing it as soon as we finish this episode. So, Dave, like I said, just one inductee this week. So I'm on the door. I'm behind the bar as well. That's fine. I can do 2 things. I'm a multitasker. So I'm going to read out the name. If you hear your name, please head on in. Everyone else has already been in, which is, I believe, some 700 odd. I'm looking at it's got to be more than that, I think. Maybe 1,000 people. I'm not sure. Quite a lot of people.
Well, it's huge. It's getting bigger.
It's getting bigger, yeah. We're making renovations all the time. We're still working on our Triptych Club for the 9-year types.
Yes.
But we've still got a year or 2 to.
That's right. We're excavating for that.
But, Dave, you ready to hype them up?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So I'm going to read out the name. I'm going to run over behind the bar. You hype them up, and I'll tell you you're doing a good job, even though it's usually pretty weak wordplay. what you do based on the place that they're from or their name. Anyway, please welcome in from Pleasanton in California in the United States, it's Abhishek Kasturi.
Check 1, 2. It's Abhishek Kasturi.
Oh, that's very good. He did it again.
Thank you
Dave.
so much.
Done it again.
I needed that.
Welcome in, Abhishek. Make yourselves at home. You've been waiting out on the line for so long.
Oh yeah, hearing all the bands playing on the inside, going, I should be in there.
Yeah, he should have been in here a year ago.
Sorry.
So, apologies for that. But thank you so much for all your support. Make yourself at home. Please grab a drink of whatever you like. I'll make you something great. It could be cider with mint in it or anything.
It could be anything.
Welcome in. Dave, anything we need to tell people before we go?
Hey, don't forget you can support the show at patreon.com/dogoonpod or get in contact with us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that sort of stuff. We've got an email, dogoonpod@gmail.com, and a website that's open 24/7. dogoonpod.com. The internet never sleeps.
That's right, so good. Please, follow us wherever we are. Just follow us around.
Please.
And I will always love you. It's a little remix there.
As Matt remixes that song, I'll say thank you so much for listening. And
I think I'm losing it.
Yeah, I thought we should wrap it up now. Until next week, I'll say thank you so much and goodbye.
Laters. We'll always love you.
Even when we're on a budget, we still deserve nice things. Quince is a place to scoop up stunning high-end goods for 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They have buttery soft cashmere sweaters starting at $50, luxurious Italian leather bags, and so much more. Plus, Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing. Get the high-end goods you'll love without the high price tag with Quince. Go to quince.com/style for free shipping and 365-day returns.
As dawn broke over the seven seas, the pirates of the Crimson Galleon set sail for adventure. But there was one problem. Paperwork. Mountains of it. Filing, invoices, you name it.
This work ain't fit for a pirate.
Luckily, their captain had an idea. She used the smart buying tools on Amazon Business, so they could work more efficiently and get back to doing what they do best. I know, right? Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying.